Mr. T.J. Smith will lead us in a prayer. Please stand.
Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we come once again with bowed heads and humble hearts just to say thank you, dear God, for another opportunity to avail ourselves of this place that you provided for us, this meeting, oh God, that you has convened on behalf of the citizens of St. Tammany Parish. We pray, oh God, that everything that we say and do will be pleasing in your eyesight. We pray, oh God, that you will receive, oh God, the humble way in which we approach you this evening, oh God, and that we keep in mind that you are supreme and that you are in charge of everything. And dear God, in the end, when we're through this business, we'll be so very careful to give you all the praise, honor, and glory. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God save the republic.
Thank you. Ms. Katrina, call the roll, please.
Mr. Dean?
Here.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Ms. Casabon? Here. Mr. Lorino?
Mr.
Mr.
Lorino is going to be
Toledano?
late for the record. Present.
Yeah,
Ms. Tanner?
Present.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Canulet?
Here.
Mr. Mike Smith?
Here.
Ms. O'Brien? Here. Mr. Drum?
I am here, young lady.
Mr. Bender?
Here.
Mr. Airy?
Here.
And Mr. T.J. Smith? We have a quorum.
Mr. Lorino notified us that he's running a little bit behind, but he will be here shortly. Thank you. Okay. Regarding public comment, a 3-minute time limit is established for each member of the public wishing to speak for or against an item on the agenda except appeals. To ensure that all speakers are heard, please hold cheers and applause. Anyone who wishes to place a comment in the record but who does not wish to speak at the podium may fill out a speaker card and check the box indicating they do not wish to speak. Let me also quickly say that we have 10 appeals tonight. Several of them will be pulled for postponement or whatever. And we have presentations and appointments. If everyone could, including council members, could be, specific and to the point, we'd appreciate it so we don't keep the public here too long. Thank you very much. Presentation of proclamation to St. Tammany Parish Government Employee of the Month, President Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council, and members of the audience here this evening. It's great to see such a wonderful crowd out this evening, despite the weather. This is an opportunity that I have each and every month to present a proclamation to Employee of the Month, a proud member of Team Tammany. And this evening, I have the honor of presenting to a friend of all of ours, Dwayne Buddy Lloyd. And I'm going to ask Buddy to step up here while I present this proclamation.
Thank you, sir.
Whereas Dwayne Buddy Lloyd began his service to St. Tammany Parish in January 2020 as a help desk analyst in the Public Works Department, and in December of last year, Buddy was transferred to the Technology Department. And whereas Buddy is always willing to go above and beyond his anticipated duties, including being instrumental in the parish's response to COVID, in order to prepare our employees to work from home efficiently and effectively. And whereas Buddy is innovative and recently spearheaded the installation of weather stations across St. Tammany Parish that will provide vital information to our employees and the public during storm events. And whereas Buddy continues to serve as a liaison between the Department of Public Works and the Department of Technology, and manages to be a valued team member to both departments. And whereas Buddy is hardworking and always demonstrates patience and provides effective communication when explaining and troubleshooting issues. Whereas Buddy Lloyd is an outstanding employee, performs his duties in an exemplary manner, and is committed to serving the citizens of St. Tammany. Now therefore I, Michael B. Cooper, as parish president of this great parish, do hereby recognize the hard work, dedication, and accomplishments of Dwayne Buddy Lloyd as Employee of the Month, August 2022, and encourage all employees, our parish council members, and the citizens of St. Tammany Parish to thank him for his contributions and commitment to our parish. Buddy, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm going to hold that to you. You want to say a few words? You don't have to. Okay, good. Well, then we're going to stand and take a picture right here.
Thank you, sir.
Before he sits down, I might acknowledge, too, that he was nominated by both the Director of Technology and the Director of Public Works because he works between those departments, but of course, he's a great asset to Team Tammany here in St. Tammany. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, President Cooper. Congratulations, Buddy. Buddy lives in my council district. So that means every time I go by his house, my IQ goes up. Okay? I'm telling you. Thank you, Buddy. Mike Smith, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Buddy was a scoutmaster with me for a long time, and he was dedicated enough to go to summer camp several times and eat the worst camp food ever. And he also served in the city council. And his son and daughter have gone on to grow up and do great things. And his son Jimmy was an Eagle Scout maybe 5 times over. Okay, and even better than that, one summer I was driving by his house, and every day Jimmy would be out there painting that house. And he finally did finish the house. He got a teenager to paint the whole house.
Thank you, Mike. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move up item 3, Parish Council Achievement Recognition. Mr. Toledano.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bender. Members of the council and members of the public, it's a privilege, and it's much more than a privilege. It's a great honor on behalf of my colleagues, including Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Davis, to provide an honor and a recognition for a group of young kids and outstanding athletes, great athletes, who have brought special recognition to St. Tammany Parish. The Mandeville St. Tammany Special Olympics Mustang are the state champions in the Special Olympics. The first ever, for many years, 35 years, I coached kids, and I understand the sacrifices that these great athletes have made in order to reach this goal. And they're to be congratulated. They have done something for St. Tammany Parish that most of us wish we had the opportunity to do. And we are so very proud of them. They and their coaches, and I will acknowledge their coaches. Sean Leday is the head coach and certainly has done a wonderful job of organizing this group. And he has been assisted by Caroline Burkhalter, Fallon Hand, Carter Davis, Ursula Hand, perhaps related to maybe Mr. Hand, and Dominic Galino. All great people who spend a lot of their personal and family time helping these kids reach their goal. But here are the heroes, and I'll call them off in this order. Aaron Rhodes, Cole Levy, Aaron Wales, Bailey Singleton, Anthony Corridon. With apologies if I mess anybody's name up, too bad. Anthony Wayne Aguilar. James Ferguson. Amy Bevelow. Nate McAdams. Alicia Polk. Eniko Nick. Josh Stanky. Brandon Riley. Kevin Fickle. Haley Brinson. Erica McCovey. Melissa O'Malley. And I'd ask the coaches to come forward in support of their kids, if they would. And I'm going to just leave you with this thought and leave everybody in this room with this thought. The motto that I used to always tell my kids is, you take every opportunity to be the best. These are the best. We're proud of them. Thank you very much. Thank y'all very much, and thank the Mandeville Mustangs.
Okay.
Come on up, guys. That's what's going on. That's right, we're going to do it again. That's what they want to do. A repeat.
We're going to go for repeat.
Good job,
Sounds great.
Check it out, buddy.
We're going to go for back-to-back.
Okay, everybody trying to, we got to get Nate in the front, though. Come on, Nate and Haley in the front.
Oh, yeah, you can get down on the knee. That's
Yep.
fine.
There you go.
Next year, we're doing it again.
Where's Aaron at? Aaron. You have it upside down. I want you to hold that.
So it's not blocking your face. There you go. Aaron, you want to come up this way?
Good job, Aaron.
How about come up this way? You'll be in the front. You come by Miss Ursula. Right here. Coach Ursula.
Good job, Aaron. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, everybody smile.
There you go, Nate.
1, 2, 3.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Yep, you're welcome. Congratulations to all of the Mustangs. Yep.
And I wanted to just mention one more thing as we reorganize ourselves. This great team is on their way to nationals.
All right. Okay. We'll move on to, under presentations, item 2, presentation by St. Tammany Parish Clerk of Court, Melissa Henry, regarding elections. Miss Henry. Okay.
Thank you. Is it this?
Yes. Let me see. Here's the MI.
Is that it? Okay, start it in. Make it bigger. You got it?
Yes. This big one.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you this afternoon. So after the last parish council meeting and I was fielding questions from the audience regarding elections, I asked if I could come and speak with you. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about the clerk's office. In Louisiana, clerks wear many hats, where in other states, you have a separate clerk that handles the recordations of mortgage and conveyance. You have a separate clerk that oversees the court divisions, a separate clerk regarding archives. But in Louisiana, we wear all of those hats. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's unique about St. Tammany. So Chris Cushing is, the first person you're going to speak to normally. We have our archives department. All of our series exist unbroken from 1810 to present day. We are the second largest, best preserved set of records outside of Orleans Parish. All of our records are kept on site in original format, and that's not the case in other parishes. Here's our land records department, where we also issue passports, our personal documents department. And just to give you some stats, we average around 122 passports a month that we process, birth and death certificates, a little around, give or take 500, marriage license, a little over 140. Our recording department, our cancellations department, our cashiers department. Cancellations, we average about 1,500 cancellations a month, about 75 certificates, and that's really low since COVID. Pre-COVID, we're looking in hundreds. And I'm anticipating the certificate stats to go through the roof in the next few months. Our deed recordations is trending around 700, and our miscellaneous and mortgage transactions, give or take 5,000. Our civil suit filings, our customer service, protective orders, juvenile stats regarding protective orders is around 36 a month. It was a lot more than that during COVID. I'll tell you a funny story. We had a lady file a protective order against her husband because he kept bringing his friends over. Family new suits in civil averages around 740, 750. Our e-filing documents are trending in our civil and family department a little over 1,400, and our miscellaneous documents are a little over 3,000 a month. Here's our criminal department customer service and our stats in criminal. Felony misdemeanor bills of information range between $275 and $375. Our misdemeanor traffic bills are anywhere from $250 to $300. Our traffic tickets are a little under $1,000. Criminal matters, a little over $500. Juvenile matters, a little over $70. And 72-hour hearings are a little over $100. Our satellite office in Slidell. Our elections department, which we're going to talk a little bit more about. But that's really what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I wanted to talk to you about the uniqueness of St. Tammany and elections. This is part of a presentation that I gave in Baton Rouge when I testified before our voting committee. And what's unique about St. Tammany is we have so many municipalities, we have villages, we have townships, where other parishes don't have that many. Our population has grown. It went from the last census, a little over 233,000 to almost 265,000. Our registered voters have increased from 158,000 to over 187,000. And I'm just going to pause for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a voter registration problem in St. Tammany. We have a voter turnout problem in St. Tammany. This is the number of certified commissioners I currently have, the number of commissioners in charge, the number of voting machines that's allocated for St. Tammany, and our deputy clerks in my office are also certified commissioners. This is just to give you a little census of the age brackets of our commissioners. So you see the older they are, the more I have. We have lost several commissioners due to COVID. They didn't feel safe working in the precincts. So for a parish-wide election, we have 170 precincts. I need 170 commissioners in charge, anywhere between 500 to almost 700 commissioners, and we need 445 voting machines. So let's talk about the elections that we have. So these are the number of elected officials that we have in our parish. Slidell, we have a mayor, chief of police, 7 council members, 2 at large, a city judge, a city marshal. And if you will follow down the chart, you can see how that chart equals out. I'm not going to read each one of them to you. But parish-wide elected officials in district, we have our state senators, we have our U.S. representative, our state representative, our Bessie member, our public service commissioner, Court of Appeals, our U.S. senator, our commissioner of agriculture, state treasurer, commissioner of Department of Insurance, and our Supreme Court associates, as well as our U.S. representative and state representative. And if you notice the asterisks next to everyone's name, those are the individuals that are from here, from St. Tammany. And what I express strongly to everyone in Baton Rouge is St. Tammany is very politically charged. We're very politically motivated, and we have a lot of elections. It continues with our parish president, clerk of court, assessor, coroner, sheriff, our 15 school board district, 14 parish council members, our district judges, district attorney. We have 12 JPs, 14 constables. We have 14 RPEC members, 5 at large. We have 22 State Central Committee, Republican State Central Committee members. We also have 14 DPEC members. We have 5 at large, and as well as the DPEC State Central Committee members as well. All in all, we have 229 elected officials in St. Tammany. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the comparison of the presidential election from 2016 to 2020. It was our norm. Our highest number of mail-in absentee ballots ranged around the 4,000 mark. That was a lot. Well, when COVID hit, you see what it jumped up to. It jumped up to over 12,000. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not a single-page ballot. The presidential election was 3 pages. So you take the 12,000, times that by 3, that's how many pages we had to scan on election night. This is a number also in the next column are the number of voters that turned out and voted in person, whether or not it was in early voting or on election day. Just to give you some more stats with some prior elections, so you can see the trend from paper ballots and voters voting in person. You can see where it's the smaller election, we call them the off-season elections in our office, where there's not a lot on the ballot, and unfortunately, it could be either something that's parish-wide, or it could be something that's on the ballot that's just a district. But unfortunately, we put forth the same amount of effort, regardless of how many items are on the ballot when it's a parish-wide election, or if it's one thing on the ballot. It costs the same thing. We have to staff and man the same amount of precincts and the same number of commissioners. Here's the schedule for the 22 election, and we're going to focus on the last two columns because that is our next upcoming elections, and it tells you the deadlines for registering to vote, when the absentee ballots are going to be mailed out. Here's also what is going to be on our ballot in November. We're going to have the U.S. Senator. It's a federal election, U.S. Senator, U.S. Representative. We are also going to have, as you know, several school board members that are up for election: Abita Springs Mayor and Alderman, Folsom Mayor and Alderman, and Pearl River Mayor, Chief of Police and Aldermen. And then this is next year's a large election with our governor's election and all of our parish-wide elected officials in U.S. and, all of our representatives as well. I wanted to make you aware of an app that I think you will find really great tool. It's the Go Vote app. It's free. You can download it, and you can find a lot of information on this. You can look up your voting location. If you have somebody approach you and they don't know where their voting location is, you can look up their information. It's just a matter of entering in their name, their zip code, and their date of birth, just the month and the year. It also, you click on and you show a voting location, and it will tell you where your voting locations are on election day or early voting. It gives you a little map that you can zoom in to show you where the location is, along with the address. Here's the election classes, a picture of one of the ones that I teach. I teach them on both ends of the parish. And we teach anywhere between 4 to 8 every election season, depending on the need. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I mentioned we don't have a voter registration problem. We have a voter turnout problem. And I can only do so much. And I post things on our social media page. I put things on our website. I ask people to share. But if everyone can help me with that information and sharing it on your social media page, reminding people to get out to vote. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want people to get out to vote when they're just wanting to vote against something. We don't want to be that what they're motivated to do when they're voting against someone or something. They need to be involved in our election process because it makes a difference. We had so many recounts on elections back in April across the state because there was a 3 or 4 vote difference. And so those parishes had to go through revotes. So I'm asking you to work with me. If you see what I'm posting, share it, tell your friends and neighbors, remind them to get out and vote. And I need your help. That's, it's frustrating when we have single-digit voter turnout and they're long days, and it's hard to find commissioners. And I have flyers where I'm having new commissioner recruitment training classes the end of this month and next month. So I have flyers. If anybody's interested in becoming a commissioner, I would love to have you. Or if you know someone who might be interested, please pass on the flyer, or you can point them to our website as well. But I just wanted to share a little bit about what's going on in the clerk's office.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. We very much appreciate it, and thank you for attending tonight, along with, I see, members of your staff.
Yes, I have a lot of employees that wanted to come tonight.
Well, thank you so much. And Mr. Airy?
Did you have something you wanted to say, Marty?
Did you, okay. I just wanted to ask a question a little bit off topic, but, I heard that the clerk's office had a fire about this time last year. I was just wondering how
Yes,
you
we
all were
did.
doing and
Yes.
moving forward from that. If you could briefly explain, since this is going to be a long meeting. But
So I want to regress for a moment because I think I'm a little unique coming before all of you tonight, not asking for money. So I think that's the reason why there's smiles on all of your faces, because you know I'm not coming up here asking you for money. What's different about the clerk's office is we're fee for service. We do not receive any taxpayer dollars to support our office. How I maintain our office, pay our salaries and benefits, and any overhead is by the fees that we collect. Of course, the parish is mandated to provide me with a footprint to conduct business, but other than that, I have all the other overhead. Regressing back to your question, Jake, yes, it's our 1-year anniversary. We had a fire in the basement, and a light fixture caught on fire in the men's bathroom. I'm grateful that it happened on a Friday morning and not on the weekend. I'm grateful that the door to the men's bathroom was closed because the sprinkler ran for 2 hours before it was shut off. It flooded up to, all the way to my civil. And if you are aware of how much property I obtain in the clerk's office, in the Justice Center, we are, if you're facing the building, we are everything on the right side, left side of the building, all the way across the front in the basement, as well as halfway on one side on the ground floor. It flooded most of the right side of the building, the left side of the building, and the water was to my ankle. I'm fortunate that I had help from property management that helped me get things back in place, but we were misplaced for a month. We had to relocate everyone in the basement. Upstairs in my elections training room, it looked like command central with the rows of tables and computers and phones, but we didn't miss a beat serving the public. Come Monday morning, we had everybody relocated. The courts still weren't affected by it, and we were still able to serve everyone. I think I'd like to add a little bit, if you don't mind me taking a little bit of liberty here. There's been a lot of talk over the past several years about taxes and millages and what have you to support the Justice Center, to support the District Attorney's Office, to support the jail. But it's no different than maintaining the Justice Center than it is maintaining your home. It's normal wear and tear. And it's a large building, and we should take a lot of pride in that. There's a lot of pride taken when it was built, so we could have all the agencies under one roof. But if we're not taking regular maintenance measures on it, we're going to continue to have these little hiccups. And, I shared with you the collection of records that we have. I'm charged with maintaining and preserving all of the records for St. Tammany Parish. That's all of our mortgage and conveyance records, all of our civil records, all of our criminal records. And we have to maintain a certain temperature and a certain humidity level, because if we don't, mold grows. And then I'm dealing with a whole nother maintenance issue and expense. So I may have answered more than you wanted, Jake, so I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. Again, we appreciate you and your staff members attending tonight, and thank you for your presentation and comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to appointments. Item 1 is resolution to appoint Karen Raymond and Annette Zigler to fill vacancies on the Board of Commissioners for St. Tammany Parish Recreation District Number 4. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Chairman Bender, thank you very much on that. I would like to go ahead and introduce Ms. Karen Raymond and Ms. Annette Zigler, who I'm going to be hopefully appointing to the Rec District 4 to fill up those locations. So we have a 7 total membership on that. These two ladies of Lacombe have done quite a bit for the Lacombe area, and I believe they'll be very good assets to this organization. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mr. Airy to appoint. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you and congratulations. Item 2 under appointments, resolution to appoint Suzy Toso to fill a vacancy on the Board of Commissioners of the St. Tammany Parish Library Board of Control. Ms. Casbon.
Am I on? Okay. Yes, I'd like to introduce, she's in the back, doesn't wish to speak, but Suzy Toso has been a public school teacher for over 20 years. She's worked at the St. Tammany Parish Library for about that many. She did retire from it, but she's one of our precious little sweet pink ladies at St. Tammany Parish Hospital, that she is a giver. She gives back to the community, very active in her church, and I know she'll do a fantastic job. I'd like to nominate or
Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion by Ms. Casbon, seconded by Ms. Tanner. And Ms. Casbon, if you
Yes.
would like to make a motion to suspend the rules and adopt, this is
I do.
parish-wide.
I will make that motion. to
Okay,
suspend.
motion by Ms. Casbon, suspend the rules and adopt, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any comments? Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you and congratulations. Okay, moving to the consent calendar. On page 3, under ordinances for introduction, we need to pull number 22, ordinance calendar number 7067. Under resolutions, we need to pull item 1, resolution CS number C-6637. We need to pull item 2, resolution CS number C-6638. We need to pull resolution number 6, resolution CS number 6642. And let me go to the council. Is anyone on the council to my right have anything to pull? Seeing none.
Just
Anyone to my left? Wait,
introductions?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. Anyone to my left wishing to pull anything? Mr. Drum.
Number 8.
Number 8 under ordinances for introduction. That's ordinance calendar number 7053.
Where am I?
Mr. Drum, do I have the right one?
No, sir, you do not. I don't have the right one.
This is for adoption.
My mistake. I withdraw my
Nothing to
withdrawal.
pull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't you see I'm red in the face from messing
You're
up?
you're good. Thank you, Mr. Drum.
Sorry about that.
Okay, let me read this. Any items not pulled from the consent calendar automatically approved in whole by one vote. Items pulled from the consent calendar discussed and voted upon individually. A majority vote of the entire council, 8, is required to adopt the consent calendar. So with that, I need a motion to adopt the consent calendar other than those items not, other than the items pulled. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Ms. Casbon. Any comments? Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Okay. Now we move on to ordinances. Ordinance number 22 on the consent calendar is pulled. Ordinance calendar number 7067, an ordinance to amend St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Section 2-1.125, 2-273 and 2-274 relative to parish purchasing procedures and professional services. I might add that we had council members in a meeting this past week with Parish President Cooper and a few of his staff, and by mutual agreement, the parish president in our group, he was fine with pulling this and holding over till the next council meeting, okay? So I need a motion to pull and postpone until next meeting. Excuse me, we have the pull. Mr. Airy?
Yes.
Postpone till the next meeting. Mr. T.J. Smith, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Under resolutions, item 1 is Resolution CS number C6637, resolution to appoint and confirm Gina Campo as the council administrator. I would just like to make a brief comment. So we had an opening for a council administrator. We advertised. We received a number of resumes, and we wound up with meeting the educational and experience qualifications. We interviewed 6 candidates, among which was Ms. Gina Campo. We chose Ms. Campo, offered her the position, and we were thankful that she accepted. And Ms. Campo has previous experience with St. Tammany Parish government, state of Louisiana, and she will be a very fine addition to our council staff. Ms. Campo, why don't you turn up a second and stand up a second and let everybody see you. Ms. Gina Campo. Ms. Gina, anything you want to say?
Just that I'm very pleased to be back and happy to support the parish council in any way I can to make parish government more efficient and
Thank you, Gina.
get our
All
work
right.
done.
Under resolutions, item 2 is resolution, excuse me? Oh, excuse me, got to vote. Thank you, Ms. Katrina. Need a motion, Mr. Davis, seconded by Ms. O'Brien. Man, I'm going to get my act together, man. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 2 under resolutions, resolution CS number C-6638, a resolution approving the holding of an election in Recreation District Number 1 of St. Tammany Parish, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, December the 10th, 2022, to authorize the incurring of debt and issuance of bonds herein. Yeah. Okay. You want to make a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Riker Talagano, seconded by Ms. Casborn. Any comments? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 6 under resolutions, resolution CS number 6642, a resolution to acknowledge and confirm the parish president's appointment of the Director of Utilities, Mr. Mike Smith.
Okay, I'd like to say that I would welcome the appointment of Chris Tissue to the directorship of Tammany Utilities at a future point in time. I don't believe that time is now. I believe it will be when the personnel and resources and management support is in place to enable him to operate a crumbling system adequately for the safety and welfare of the customers, many of whom are in my district. Last month, the council passed a resolution based on months of investigation and study, and that resolution stated that a third-party private management company is needed to operate the system under Chris Tissue's authority. The parish president seemed to agree in principle at that council meeting. Accordingly, I make a motion that we delay appointment of Chris Tissue as director indefinitely. He can continue to serve as interim director with his salary and authority intact, but not as director, until there are RFPs for a regional or national company with long experience in operating utility companies of comparable or larger size than TU, and those RFPs are presented for the council's consideration.
Okay. Mr. Jimmy Davis.
With all due respect, I believe that the process of which they advertised for this job to fill this position was proper, and also I believe they did pick the right person for the job. So I don't agree with postponing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. So, Mr. Mike Smith, we understand your motion as written, as read, and we have a seconded by Mr. Canulet. Excuse me 1 second, President Cooper. So, a no vote. Excuse me, so hold on 1 second, President Cooper. So the motion will be to postpone to a future date as stated as stated by Councilman Mike Smith. Okay. President Cooper.
Thank you. First, I want to congratulate Ms. Gina Campo for her appointment and confirmation into the position as council administrator. Just as she went through the process, or you all went through the process of seeking the best candidate to fill that position, we did the same thing last fall when we created the Department of Utilities. Rather than just appointing somebody, we went through the advertising process to seek the right candidate. I did not sit in the interviews, but my staff did, and Chris Tissue emerged as the top candidate. And as you know, he's been serving as the appointed director since November of last year. I'd like to say also that Chris is absolutely qualified to serve in this position, and I do not feel that postponing this at this time is going to do anything to increase the morale of our department and of Team Tammany, all of our departments that work to serve our citizens and to serve the citizens of the council members. Chris is experienced in multiple disciplines of engineering, has worked in both the private and the public sectors, and was consistently promoted to supervisory positions. In the private sector, Chris worked for a civil engineering firm that focused on land development, roadways, site design, and most importantly, utilities. During this time in the private sector, Chris designed sewer lift stations and sewer force mains. He also handled construction quality assurance inspections on utility line repairs. Chris gained employment with St. Tammany Parish government as a development engineer in 2016 and has been a member of St. Tammany Parish government since then. As a result of his integrity, decision-making, expertise, and situational awareness, Chris was first promoted to lead development engineer, where he met monthly with the utility staff to discuss the status of development with regard to utility infrastructure. Chris was then promoted to Assistant Director of Engineering, where he reviewed and approved applications and associated plans for water and sewage system improvements. Chris Tissue has worked on many diverse projects in different capacities and enjoys being in the leadership role, where he is accountable for his staff and outcomes. He is very familiar with monthly and annual budgets, invoices, receivables, payroll, and inventory. His management approach is to address issues and resolve conflicts as they occur to prevent matters from escalating and to ensure his employees do not develop unprofessional habits. His technical knowledge, familiarity with construction methods, and critical path thinking has earned him the credibility, trust, and respect of the administration and staff. Chris has repeatedly proven his knowledge, work ethic, and ability to lead. He prides himself on being a problem solver who does not shrink from a challenge. Additionally, Chris feels a strong moral obligation to put the safety, welfare, and needs of the citizens first. Since being appointed to this position on November 8th of last year, Chris has already become certified as a Class 2 operator in water distribution, production, and treatment. He is committed to continuing his coursework until his Class 4 certifications in all water and wastewater areas. We are confident that Chris Tissue has the education, intelligence, experience, skills, and determination needed to excel in this challenging position. And I ask members of the Parish Council to move forward in confirming the appointment of Chris Tissue as the Director of Utilities so we can move forward in addressing all of the issues we have in utilities and other departments as well. Thank you.
Thank you, President Cooper. Mr. Mike Smith?
Okay, I don't think there's anybody on this council that doesn't like Chris Tissue and has been impressed with his approach. Certainly I have. And I've been as critical of the people who have directed Tammany Utilities as anybody. Okay, but I guess the analogy that I'm going to make is a sports one because I'm a guy, but it's like you're sending a guy out here to play football with half a team. We have shortages in manpower. We have shortages in certifications. We have a constant stream of people that are leaving the department. We don't have a lot of continuity. And since January, I know that we've hired at least 3 different consultants for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we haven't always been able to do what we said we were going to do with the help of the consultants. If we don't need the consultants, we need the consultants, so why not have one organization that's committed long-term, 5 years, whatever you want to do for the contract, that provides him with the help and the knowledge that will enable him to gather the rest of the skills that he needs to work in the field. He has never managed in the field before, and he is adapting very quickly, but he's got a really tough task ahead of him, and he needs the help. And until he gets it, I don't think we ought to put him in a position where he might fail. And in doing so, my constituents would be hurt. So I say we delay this until we see some RFPs with the public-private partnership.
I totally disagree. Thank you.
Understood. Mr. Lorino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and sorry I was late, but
No, that's fine. We let everybody know you were on your way.
I was on there. Thank you. Here we are again talking about Tammany Utilities, okay, and we don't need to do a lot of talking about it, but the bottom line is we need to move on. We've done everything. I agree with everything that we've tried to do with bringing in an outside company to run Tammany Utilities, but that's not the council's decision. The council can only talk about it, recommend it, and that's exactly what we did a few times. So what do? Do we sit here and do nothing and wait till the election next year? That's the bottom line. But the bottom line is that wouldn't be doing the people in St. Tammany Parish, in my opinion, a service. I firmly believe that if we bring in, and I'm sorry I missed the prior part, but if we bring in an engineering firm to work along with Mr. Tissue and to guide him and give him some experience, I think we would be doing everybody in St. Tammany Parish a benefit and a service, because it's just not cross gates anymore. It's not just cross gates. It's Gus Island, it's Timberlane in my district, and others up here have them also. So what do? We sit here and do nothing? No. Personally, as I said, I support the other idea, but we can't get it done. So I know Mr. Tissue will do his very best. I've worked with him. He's done everything I asked him to do as a temporary, so I'm going to support him. So thank you, Mr. Bender.
Thank you, Mr. Lorino. I have to agree with my colleague, Mr. Mike Smith, and also as a long-term member from day one, more than 4 years ago, of the Tammany Utilities Work Group. And President Cooper, with all due respect, you have ignored, it's just a fact, you've ignored our requests, You've ignored our advice. You attended one Tammany Utilities meeting out of all that we've had. Councilman Mike Smith has asked for 2 community meetings, which he invited you to. You didn't attend. So let me just say, you like to talk about morale. How would you like to be one of the people who can't shower at night in their own home because their children get rashes? Mike, you can shake your head no. We can get you a place to shower if you'd like.
Mr. Bender, we do not need this conversation.
Excuse me, Mr. Cooper. You are out of line. Sir, I said respectfully in talking with you, we need this conversation because you know what? I had a council member call me last week. I'm obviously not going to name. You know what that person said? Jerry, we just passed Mike Smith's end of the road resolution. The resolution, excuse me, President Cooper, what now? You're raising your hands up.
Yes.
What?
Let's end this conversation
We're
with
not
regard to
ending
the
this
issue
conversation.
you bring up every month.
Sir, we do not bring it up every month. You're out of line. Let me just say this to you.
And you're putting the employees.
No, sir.
If you have something against me, but
No, sir.
you're
It is not
dangling the
against
carrot
you at all.
in front of the employees.
It is in support of, on your org chart, citizens are above you. But that's just in writing. It's not in reality. We've asked you 3 times for this RFP. Excuse me, Mr. Cooper. The point is, we need the RFP for the National Internet Regional Management Company. They manage Plaquemines, they manage St. Bernard. We're not the one ignoring. We like Mr. Tissue, we've said it. But you just said he has a Class 2 license. He doesn't have the operational background. We've talked to you in private, Mr. Lorino and I, about getting a management company in there so that he can be over them and learn from them. Thank you, Mr. Toledano.
You skipped Mr. Canulette.
You're ahead of Mr.
I'm sorry. I was
Canulette.
ahead of Mr. Canulette. I'm sorry. I'm reading backwards. Yeah. If there's ever been a dog that we've beaten to death, this is one. But this is my view on this, Mr. Bender and the rest of my council members. It's time to do something about the void in the leadership in that department. In my view, when you have this void, things can only get worse. I have been absolutely impressed by Mr. Tissue's diligence in getting a hold of the job, developing some institutional knowledge. And I really give Chris Tissue credit that to the extent that he will need, which I think is a good suggestion, to bring in some further expertise to maybe deal with some of the problems that are rather unique to our parish and to our system. I'm sure he will do that. But we cannot base his appointment and leave that open because someone is showering in Crossgates and not having a good experience in their shower. And I'm not making light of it. I'm simply saying that now is the time. We've spent enough time. We need to fill that spot, give him the leadership role that I think he's deserved and worked for. And quite frankly, if he doesn't do the job, I'll be the first one to say, you're out of here. But I have confidence that he wants that job. He's willing to do the work. We need leadership in there. It does not serve this parish well to have a void in that position. And for that reason, I'm going to support his appointment tonight. And I'm going to make sure on a regular basis through the administration that he's doing everything that he needs to do to run these departments correctly, including if he believes that we need a consultant, which to me makes good sense in some cases, then doggone it, I expect him to say that to the administration, and I am expecting the administration to bring on whoever else he needs in support of doing his job. I think it's time to get on with it. I support his appointment.
Thank you, Mr. Toledano. Mr. Canulette.
Thank you. So here's $1 million question. Has it gotten better? the last year? Has the water quality gotten better in Crossgates? We got a report that we put together with the citizens that says probably not. We also know some facts. We were supposed to do a burn under the recommendation of Owen and White. Well, we did, we attempted it, but we failed. Key word is here, we failed. We failed to meet the 1.0 at all the required spots for the burn. I'll repeat this, we failed. It's not an accusation, it's a fact. We'll also sit back and look at the other things. I've listened to my colleagues talk about an engineering company. Well, we spent $350,000, I think, for Owens and White to come in, and they basically did that with Crossgates. Everything's already done for Crossgates. What equipment we need, what they think is going to make it better, all this stuff. The one thing I believe that we're truly lacking is the experience in the operation of the water. Because at the end of the day, it's the water quality, and a lot of it is the condition of our existing equipment. It's just not that good, to be perfectly honest with everybody. It needs improvement. The parish president has recognized it. We recognize it. We know we have to make improvements on that system. But when we talk about bringing another engineering firm, I hear, let's bring an engineering firm in to look at this. If you want to do that and look at the equipment, I'm okay with that. But if you want to bring an engineering company in here to tell us how to make good water with no certified operators and zero experience, you might as well take a can, put that $350,000 max limit on what we can spend on professional service contract and put a match to it. Because in my opinion, they're going to tell us the same thing that we already got with Owens and White. So, and I appreciate Christie. He has been upfront and honest, and no one has worked harder. Absolutely, no one has worked harder. And I get it, I know a lot of council members are tired of hearing about it and this and that, but there still exists. You know, some people might not want to believe it, but we haven't resolved this. And we have facts. I mean, the one thing I tell y'all, I was so disappointed when we did the burn and when we stopped it early. We really didn't, in my opinion, we really didn't try a whole lot of troubleshooting things like swapping from one well to see if it'll run the system versus the other well. So many other different things you can do with your system to see where you're at. Well, we just stopped it after 13, 14 days. How many days was it? I don't know. 2 weeks. So, as coming from the background of the operations in the refineries and troubleshooting, that is your opportunity when you're doing a burn, is to find out where your systems have the most problems. And I feel we didn't take advantage of that. So that is why I'm with Mr. Smith. I've talked to Chris probably twice a week, and I have never been more impressed with anyone in my life, and he's getting it quick. But in layman's terms, no one's going to put a 15-year-old who got his license for the first time because he passed the test in a Rolls Royce driving around the Queen. They just not enough experience to trust him with it. Yeah, can he drive the car? Absolutely. Can he? But we're looking for solutions. That's what I want. I want the solutions. This has got to get resolved. We've got to get a solution to get this water better for these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cannell. Mr. Dean.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I promised myself I wasn't going to talk about this, but I had to. I got a few things I got to say. For the past 2 meetings, we've spoken. I think I can give all y'all speeches because I've heard it time and time. I sat and listened to a lady, totally went through every little item, took about 30 minutes or so, and all due respect, it affected her family and all of that. So then you got to look at all those hours that we talked about this, and it was hours. I mean, when you look at probably a total of 3 hours, Most of it shaming Mr. Cooper and all that. And with all due respect to my friends on the council, and I truly mean this, has that worked? It's not going to work, I don't think, until there's we can't keep playing it out in front of all these folks. And we can't, we've got 10 appeals, we've had the moratorium, we've had multiple long, serious issues that we've hijacked this meeting talking about this. And to me, it's got to be some letting down of the guard of the parish president's office and of the council members who are affected, and sit down across the table and discuss it, but not every single meeting. Out of all due respect, because Mr. Bender, you know that you're one of my favorite people. I don't like it feels to me like we are holding Mr. Tissue's job hostage until we get what we want out of the president. Well, that ain't working apparently, and so then what do we do? So I can't vote against Mr. Tissue.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Mike Smith.
Okay, I'm going to call the question in a second, but I'm going to say this. We got elected to address these issues whenever we think those issues need to be addressed. Okay, these are quality of life issues. We hear about drainage every time that we walk in here. We have to do appeals every time we get in here. We have to talk about infrastructure every time. We have to talk about roads. That's our job because those are quality of life issues. There's nothing that's more of a quality of life issue than water and sewage. So if I want to bring it up, I'm going to bring it up every time. Okay, I live in Crossgates. Okay, Chris Tissue's been working to try and improve things. I've been on 2 extended boil waters. Okay, one for the chlorine burn that we had to abandon, which we had a consultant at a pretty expensive price and couldn't do. So maybe we should have somebody coming in who's here all the time to work on it and provide us with the manpower that we need, okay, so that we can address other issues as well. And the other thing is that I get calls constantly, is it safe to drink the water? They don't trust us to operate the water. They have good reason not to trust us to operate the water. We need somebody outside to reestablish that trust, okay? And lastly, before asked to call the question, we read this out, we were finished, and then 2 weeks later, and we specified when we voted that we did not think that putting him in as director at this point in time was a good idea. And then we look on the next agenda, and he's on the agenda to be put in as director. Okay, now I know that President Cooper wants to fix this problem, but we have a serious lack of communication. Okay, and I don't think we're going to resolve it by just folding up here and walking away. So I move the question on my postponement.
He's called for the question. Ms.
I just one question. I have a question. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Can I speak?
call for the question. Excuse me 1 second, Miss Martha.
She was in the queue before he called for the question.
Excuse me, Miss Martha.
Yes.
I'm told you were in the queue before he called the question.
Oh, okay.
So
No
you
problem.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. I have a question. If I'm just confused, like I said, we've talked about this every meeting. Mike, didn't we not say the last month and stuff that Mr. Cooper agreed to getting the company because you made him restate? Do you mean that? So are you in the process of getting a company to work with Chris? That's my question. That we can look at the problems just like we called the outside consultant. They told us to do one thing, but if it's a matter of not having enough manpower at this time until we straighten everything out, under Chris's guidance, that I would feel more comfortable having someone that we know and that we have worked with to supervise this and be head of it. But also I thought Mr. Cooper said last month that we were going to find some help from whatever direction. I don't know if it's a company, I'm not exactly sure, but that's what I heard at the meeting. So I see this appointment as someone being able to coordinate from the parish point of view. And then, but he did say it, and it was on last month. Am I right?
No, ma'am.
No?
Yes, you're partially right. No, sir,
Okay.
not yet. I'll get to you, President Cooper. Ms. Casbon, Mr. Smith last month asked for a national or regional firm who is specifically in the water and utility management business. Like they manage the Plaquemines Parish Water and Utilities.
Correct.
St. Bernard's Water. That is not what is being presented as the opposition side tonight.
But would we turn that company over to run, the whole parish thing? They would not be a parish entity. It would be somebody that we are. I'm just saying, to me, we need someone over that to be able to.
So you're going to get the answer from Mr. Cooper. So I asked Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
I am, yeah. Mr. President Cooper.
Yes, sir. Upon the resolution last month, asking the administration to hire a nationally acclaimed management firm, I agreed to look at all options. I stated that I would look at all options, management, sale, or lease. We are looking at those options. We are doing everything concurrently. But yes, I did commit to that, and we are looking at options based on the legality and all the protocols that we need to do. The past 2.5 years, we've been evaluating the value of our systems, and we're still in the midst of doing that. But yes, we're doing those things, and we are working each and every day to solve the problems that we have. I did not expect to have this opposition to this extent tonight on confirmation of an appointment as we're moving forward. I did commit to that, and we continue to do so. Gina is handling that part of evaluations of the options that we have, and I am committed to that, as I said last month. And that's what I was on record as saying last month.
Okay.
Question has been called.
Yeah. Mr. Smith, could I have one quick comment? All I would say in closing is, because we did hear from the parish president after the call for the question, and President Cooper, thank you for your comments, is this. This could be any one of our council districts. And I can tell you this, a lot of the people that live in Mike Smith's council district used to live in my council district 20 years ago, and they moved into that general area. This man is getting phone calls every night for the last year and 3 or 4 months. Those of us on the Tammany Utilities work group know what these people are going through. The photographs are on file, everything's on file. The opposition has been not to even consider selling it 2 years ago, not to consider letting a management company take it over a year ago, when Mr. Lorino, good as chairman, brought in a management company from out of town, 450 companies, the utilities they manage. And we haven't gone that route. So how long do we wait for the administration to consider it? Thank you. We're voting on the motion to postpone, as Mr. Smith indicated. So a motion to postpone would be yes. Yes. And not to postpone would be no. Yes. All right. Please vote.
The motion passes with 8 yeas and 5 nays and 1 absent.
Thank you.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Hold on 1 moment.
Okay, that is the end of the consent calendar. Under appeals, let me just say this way. I'm not going to move from item 1 because we do have appeals that I believe will be postponed.
Did you want to move this one up before the two appeals?
Okay.
Some people here to speak on that one. Number 32 on the ordinance for adoption.
Okay, I have a request from, I believe, Judge Hand, you're here, sir? And you're here to speak on item 32 on adoption, sir? Thank you, Judge. Out of a courtesy, I'm going to move up item 32 under ordinance for adoption. That's our last item. That's ordinance calendar number 7045 AA, ordinance requiring the St. Tammany Parish Clerk of Court and Sheriff to impose, collect, and remit certain filing fees pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 33:1236 as amended. And this requires 8 votes. Yes, sir. Judge Hand.
Good evening, Commissioner Bender. Thank you all for the opportunity to come and speak in favor of adoption. I think there's no need for me to reiterate the budget problems that the parish has with the court system. I think fortunately, with the benefit and help of Senator McMath, we've had the legislation passed that now enables the parish to adopt an ordinance which will increase some fees. It's a small part of the problem that will be repaired, but it will repair the court's issues, the judiciary. It won't fix the district attorney or the jail's problems, but then again, it's a small part of a big problem. I do want to comment that the benefit of having Senator McMath bring this forward to the Senate, it passed unanimously in both the House and Senate without one nay vote. It's hard to speak of legislation that passes in this state without one nay vote. So it goes to show you the support that it collected. And I know that part of that success was due to council members, parish president, my colleagues who went and spoke in Baton Rouge in favor of the legislation. I don't know that there's anything I can add other than to thank y'all for your time and opportunity. And I know this is a discussion I've had many times with several of the council members. And I personally want to thank y'all for the opportunity to at least try to help fix part of the problem. Any questions?
Thank you, Judge. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments for the judge? Judge, seeing none, thank you for your attendance and your support.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion by Ms. Tanner to approve and adopt, seconded by Mr. Toledano. Seeing no comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Thank you. Okay, under appeals, I'm going to go first on appeals to item 2, item 3, item 6, and item 8. Mr. Fitzgerald, moving to, excuse me one second, sir. Yes, sir.
Resolve item number 1 if you want quickly.
Yeah, I didn't know you could, but yes, sir, go ahead.
I can. I'm going to move to postpone appeal number 1. The appellant is out of town and could not be here today. And so for that reason, I'm going to ask that matter be postponed.
Thank you, Mr. Toledano. Motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone, seconded by Ms. O'Brien. Please vote on the postponement.
1 down, 50 to go.
Yes, sir. We're moving.
The motion is unanimous with 1 absent.
Mr. Fitzgerald, I'm gonna come over to number 6. The council office was notified that Mr. Barry via an email requested that the appeal be withdrawn. Would you like to do so, sir?
and that will put it to a concurrence of the denial.
Yes, sir. So you have basically a motion to concur with the zoning denial. And do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Casbon. Please vote on the concurring with the zoning denial.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald, we not need a motion on a resolution. We need a motion on a resolution for this item. You want to make the motion?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Okay, motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Please vote on a resolution. That's to adopt.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Okay. Item 2 on appeals. Jeffrey D. Shane appealing the Planning Commission denial on April 12, 2022 for preliminary subdivision approval on property in the Bon Terrace subdivision phases 2 and 3 located on the east and west side of North Military Road, Louisiana Highway 1090 north of Interstate 12, Slidell, Louisiana, Ward 8, District 9. Mr. Mike Smith.
Move to postpone. We need to explore some legal issues and also dialogue between the parties involved.
All right,
30
motion
days.
by Mr. Mike Smith, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Mr. Smith, this is to postpone till a September meeting, 1 month.
Yes.
Okay. So let's please vote on the postponement. Mr. Canulet.
Mr. Lorino, what was your vote? With a verbal yes from Mr. Lorino, the motion is unanimous with one absent.
Okay, on item 3, thank you. On item 3, Natasha Jones appealing the zoning commission denial on May 3rd, 2022 to rezone .187 acres located on the southwest corner of Oak Street and Lakeview Drive, Slidell, from A3 Suburban District to A3 Suburban District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay, Ward 9, District 12. This is mine. I apologize, but it just was very late notice. I need to postpone once again tonight until the September 1st meeting, if someone would make a motion. Motion by Mr. Airy, seconded by Mr. Canulet, to postpone till September's meeting. Please vote.
Ms. Casabon? Mr. Airy? The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, going to, in order now, item 4, which we'll be hearing unless I hear otherwise. Wayne Thompson appealing the Planning Commission denial on June 14, 2022 for a minor subdivision of a 4.86 acre parcel located on the southwest corner of LA Highway 36 and Josephine Road, Covington, Louisiana, into parcels A, B, and C, Ward 3, District 2. Mr. Thompson? Who do we have here?
We don't have any cards.
Okay, is this Mr. Thompson?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wayne Thompson.
Can you give us your address also, please?
It's P.O. Box 1812, Covington.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, you're appealing the Planning Commission's denial?
Correct.
Okay. You'll have up to 10 minutes to speak, and that would include yourself or any other speakers on your side as well. So
Okay.
please go ahead.
Well, we're trying to make a minor subdivision, and they denied it. The ordinance says you have to have 20,000 square feet or more, which we did, and you gotta have to have 100 feet on a parish road or state road, and we did. The only other thing that they turned down on was it's not 1 acre parcels. And we didn't want to divide the property up because then you have to keep 3 or more acres under the agricultural tax. And that's the reason why we didn't break it up into larger parcels.
Thank you.
So we left it at 2 smaller parcels, which met 2 of the ordinances. If 2 businesses want to come in to buy those parcels, and there'd be wholesale retail businesses that would bring, revenue to the parish. I don't know what else to say,
Okay, sir, so let me just say this. You have 8 minutes and 33 seconds left. If you wish to, collect your thoughts, if you do want to say more, you will be able to come up and speak again, okay? Do you have anyone else on your side that would like to speak?
No one here tonight for me, no.
Okay, so go ahead and have a seat.
Okay.
And if you decide you want to speak further, you'll be able to do that, sir. Okay, is there anyone, I don't have any cards from anyone from the other side. So I'll go to you, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Good. I've worked with Mr. Thompson on this, and we've discussed it thoroughly with all the parties concerned, including the Planning and Zoning Commission. He, in a conciliatory measure, made an effort to enlarge the 2 other plots to put them very close to compliance for the acre. Would be the equivalent of, maybe 10 or 15 feet down one side. That would make it less. I talked with him about the businesses coming in, their materials businesses, and the buildings that they've got planned will meet all the specifications for offsets, for requirements. In fact, the current size of the lots, you would have to really have a sharp eye to tell the difference between it being exactly 1 acre or not. The businesses are clean businesses. The zoning was already industrial. It's right across the street there from a Beta Brewery. So the property is properly zoned. The businesses bringing in are clean material businesses, a siding company, flooring company. And the plots themselves, I think, are close enough to compliance that that's going to be able to be worked out. So understanding that our regulations are put in for a reason as far as the 1 acre lot size for industrial. In this particular case, the specifications are so close to being right and the businesses being brought in are appropriate for the zoning. I move that we reverse the denial.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. We have a motion by Mr. Fitzgerald to override the planning denial, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Seeing no one wishing to speak, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 1 absent.
Yeah, Mr. Fitzgerald, need a motion to adopt a resolution? Mr. Fitzgerald, just a motion to adopt a resolution. Okay. Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 1 absent.
Sure. We're going to hear from our esteemed attorney, Ms. Emily.
Mr. Fitzgerald, I just wanted to verify that the minor subdivision is as platted in the packet as appeal. I mean, you said that there had been some tweaks. Is this the same survey that's in the packet that's being approved? Or is there a new survey?
We have a new, I don't know which survey y'all have, but I have a copy of a new survey.
That enlarged both
It enlarged
plots.
both parcels to .80 acres each.
Okay, so the motion was for the revised survey that's going to be the new minor subdivision?
Correct.
Okay, and has that been filed with the Department of Planning and Development?
I don't think it has
I don't
yet.
think it's,
Okay, if we could get a copy of that for tonight's record, and then we'll make sure the Planning Department gets that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Emily. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Thompson for working
Okay.
with us.
I should say thank y'all.
Thank you, sir, for attending. Thank you, sir. Okay. Mr. Toledano has told me that he can take action on appeal number 9. Mr. Toledano. Oh,
Thank you.
Mr. Toledano,
Yes.
we do have cards here on number 9.
And I'm aware of those
Okay.
cards, and I believe, without knowing everybody's name, I alerted a couple of the
Yeah,
gentlemen
sure.
who were here on this subject. But for reasons similar in form to what was the case on item number 1, but in this case, the appellee, that is to say, the individuals in the area appealed, but the actual owner of the property, whose property is going to be affected by this, could not be here for what was explained to me for exceptionally valid reasons. And for that reason, I'm going to move in due respect to that individual and to all the parties here that this matter be postponed. This gentleman could not be here, and it's been explained to me, and I believe that it is more than a valid reason for him not to be in attendance.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Toledano. So we have a motion to postpone by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you, Mr. Toledano. Okay, so we move to appeal number,
5.
wait, excuse me. Excuse me one second. Did I miss you, Mr. Drum?
Yes, sir, you did.
I'm really, really sorry.
That's perfectly all right. I understand age does that.
Was there something relative to Mr. Toledano's postponement that you wanted to speak about?
No, sir.
We had pulled his
You, earlier you stated that I wanted to withdraw number 8.
No. I never said you wanted to withdraw number 8.
But I
No.
do.
I said number 6
Oh,
to Mr. Fitzgerald.
no, sir,
That-
I want to withdraw number 8.
Wait.
You stated that at the
Yeah,
beginning.
okay, but wait, Mr. Drum. But you wanting to withdraw it,
Yes, sir.
okay? Hold on one second.
Sure.
You're wanting to withdraw it, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Emily. I believe that Mr. Drum, this is what he told me. He wants to, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Drum, you want to concur with the zoning denial.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just to say, that's not a withdrawal, but I'm going to come to you now and read number 8. So
Okay.
you're going to move forward with a motion to concur with the zoning denial, correct, Ms. Emily?
Is this a request from the applicant to withdraw the appeal?
No.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
Okay. As long as the applicant has requested to withdraw the appeal, then we can move forward, but that needs to be in writing from the applicant. Or the
Okay.
applicant needs to be here and make that oral request to withdraw.
Okay, well,
Otherwise,
maybe I misunderstood. We're going to stay with the denial.
Yes. And so, Ms. Emily, he got a verbal
Correct.
from the person, but we don't have anything in writing, or we don't have the gentleman here.
is there anyone here on this case at all? Okay. Then maybe we should just wait and take this up in order if.
And that, yes.
Okay.
I'm coming to you, sir.
Never
Okay.
mind.
So you're going to be next after number 7, okay? Excuse me. Excuse me, counsel, please bear with us for a moment. Excuse me. Mr. Drum, I'm going to hear yours right now, considering that we really know what you want to do,
Yes, sir.
okay? So if there's people here that want to speak against it, therefore, we're going to move this along, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, under appeals, number 8. Seth A. and Ashley R. Hawley appealing the zoning commission denial on July 5th, 2022 to rezone 3.94 acres located at the end of Bearhurst Road, east of Thompson Road, Slidell, from A1 Suburban District to A2 Suburban District and A1 Suburban District, A2 Suburban District, and RO Rural Overlay, Ward 9, District 11. Mr. Drum.
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you like to make a motion
I make
to
a
concur
motion
with
that-
the zoning denial?
Yes, sir. I make a motion, we concur with the zoning denial.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Mr. Drum to concur with the zoning denial, seconded by Mr. T.J. Smith. Are there any comments, questions from the council? Okay, please vote on the zoning denial.
And all of the cards were to speak against it.
I'm sorry.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Drum, I need a motion, excuse me, the introduction of an ordinance. Excuse me. I need the adoption of a resolution. I need a motion. Okay, wonderful. Seconded by Mr. Jimmy Davis. Please vote.
Mr. Dean, Mr. Lorino, Ms. Tanner,
Yes, ma'am, I'm a yes.
press it once, just once. The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Drum. You're welcome. Okay, item 5 under appeals, Anthony Morrow, Cayman Burke, Montana Burke, Christy Norwood, Honeman, Davis Honeman, Stacy E. Jansen, Eugenia Laba, Joanne Jennings, Earlene Schwartz, and Tony Perez appealing the zoning commission approval on July 5th, 2022 to rezone 19.152 acres located north of Jessicat Lane, west of Coconut Palm Drive, and south of I-12, Madisonville, from HC2 Highway Commercial to A3 Suburban District, Ward 1, District 1. Yes, sir.
Yes. My name's Anthony Morrow. I live at 118 Vista Street. It's the corner of Rex and Vista. I've lived there about 22 years.
Okay,
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Morrow, just 1 minute, so make sure you're aware.
Okay.
With as many people, and I see some other names that are on this with you, okay? Collectively, y'all have a total of 10 minutes.
Right. I won't be
Okay.
long.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, about a year and a half, another developer tried to get it rezoned, and it was not approved because of the roads. Rex is the only way in and out of 2 subdivisions that's joined together. And it's maybe a 12-foot wide road, and any given time of the day, there's lawn maintenance crews parked on the road, so it knocks it down to 1 lane. We've got a lot of kids, we've got a lot of young couples back there with kids, and it's just dangerous. And that's why it was, denied last time. I don't know what's changed, why they approved it last time. We had a couple of the council personnel, one was a female, one was a male, that said they had been out there that day, and they said, there's just no way, kids are gonna get killed. So I don't understand what happened, why did it change, why did they approve it this time? And the fact, if you talk to most of the people out there, they're not against the subdivision, they're against them coming out of Rex, because it's dangerous, it's just too small. You would think the developer knew this, when he bought this land, I don't know what it would take to build another road, but, whatever it takes to keep the children safe, that's what we need to do, And, we elect you councilmen to watch over stuff like this for us, And I just plead to you, take a look at it. It's just dangerous. And like I said, if they built the road, I don't think they'd have any objection at all from any of the people out there. They're just worried about their kids.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so we also have Mr. David, is it pronounced Honeman or Honeman?
It's Hahnemann.
Hahnemann. Okay, David. And you, again, your side, and we have multiple cards, is eight more minutes, basically.
I'm going to address some of the reasons for the zoning directly, but I'm going to do some sort of indirectly, so please bear with me. The attorney for DSLD has stated that one of the things that they want to do is build their subdivision using our streets, coming through a subdivision. And if you think of a subdivision that's very busy with a lot of kids, buses, special ed buses, very busy with actually not just our subdivision, but Palm Court's behind us. It's maxed out. And that's according to two commission members that voted against this, McGinnis and Ress. They said they cannot see any kind of use of this road to have a third subdivision linked into it. Where do we have three subdivisions linked, daisy chained like this? It's ridiculous. We also have narrow ditches that go along this. I mean, it's very narrow. And then as far as drainage goes, we're very concerned about that because we have an engineer who lives in our neighborhood, and he's very concerned about this. He said, right now, we have drainage problems. We could probably maintain those, we could probably do something about that, but he said, he does drainage, I mean, he knows drainage. He said if we tie into this neighborhood, we're gonna get about 30% of the rainwater coming off of this. And that means we're gonna get way more flooding than what we already have. We have houses in the front of the neighborhood that already flood. We've got pictures of that. And so we don't see what we can do other than to have some kind of improvement, some kind of assurance that the parish could do something about that kind of thing to mitigate that. We're looking at our insurance rates going up as it is. We've got over 100,000 people losing their insurance as it is. What's going to happen when we start building more subdivisions on top of this? I think my key word here is, since there's no proper infrastructure for this property, there's no real access road to it, since there's no real plan for drainage to mitigate that, it's just inappropriate to rezone this property to A3. It's inappropriate. I mean, how do you figure that they should be able to get this zoning when there's not any kind of infrastructure that runs up to it that's going to solve the infrastructure problems we have currently, or that are just going to make things worse than what we already have. Shortcuts like this have put Madisonville in trouble as it is, and we're just going to make it worse by putting one more development in, another development in. We have so many new houses coming in. I think everybody in Madisonville is mad. So another thing with the drainage, Palm Courts has also had problems with drainage. They've had duckweed, they've had to mitigate all that. They've been working with the parish president, and they haven't been able to resolve the problems that they have. And that's where 70% of the water is going to go. Where do you think it's going to go if they don't resolve that issue? Now, we have petitions that were signed by 313 people, and we were intended to get people in our neighborhoods, but we got people all over Madisonville to Beatico Creek and down, because they're all affected by the traffic that's coming down Brewster. The Brewster corridor, and this is an indirect thing, but all these subdivisions, all these new subdivisions are affecting how much traffic is coming out Brewster. The Brewster corridor is already really, I guess you could say that's maxed out too. I'm not sure what you say in a traffic study. But as it is, we've got traffic that's backed up for 0.8 of a mile. And that's the reports I'm getting. Plus, if you start school traffic, is it going to get worse? Of course it's going to get worse. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when school starts. In the one thing that I'm thinking that is just really makes this inappropriate to change the zoning is the new direction 2040 plan. My appreciation of it, and I'm sure I might be wrong and inaccurate in some of this, but my appreciation is that most of the residents were saying that we should develop subdivisions and commercial spaces around what infrastructure we already have. We don't have any infrastructure for all this. The drainage is not there. The road is not there. It's basically landlocked. And one of the commissioners were talking about this. It's landlocked because not just because there's no other access road coming into it, no service road or whatnot, but the road, our subdivision is maxed out. Our roads are maxed out, so you can't really get more traffic coming up through that. You can't use that as an access, so it's essentially landlocked. And one other thing that's makes us scratch our head is why are they asking for this rezone? I mean, you could build A3 residential into the H2 anyway. There are two Palm Courts, Madison Farm. They're both built into H2 already. So what is the motivation for getting the rezone anyway? I don't understand. But I think maybe you should reserve the HC2 for, possibly leaving it for developing some kind of commercial spaces up there, putting a service road through, maybe even a service road from 1077 to 1085. So we have one more road to get around since we have so much gridlock in this whole area. So so those are reasons why we believe that this rezone is just inappropriate. It's the roads, it's the drainage, it's just no reason that we could see that there needs to be a rezone. And so I'd like you to join the 313 residents that we have, and we could probably get a lot more names of people who would be opposed to this as well, to any kind of developments in Madisonville. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, so excuse me. Okay, we have 33 seconds left, other than rebuttal time. So, Ms. Christie, is it pronounced again Honeman?
It's Hahnemann.
Hahnemann, okay. Hi, thank you.
I live at 104 Vista,
Okay.
which is at the end of where they want to actually do all this stuff. First off, I'd like to say y'all are our last hope. Every one of you is our last hope for this rezone. We have contacted Marty Dean and Mike Cooper about this, many residents of River Heights and Palm Courts, and either we get no response at all, or the response we get is that we should have to have looked to the future of where we have bought our own properties, and that is a direct email from Mr. Dean himself. So I will gladly show you right now, if you would like.
Okay.
Can I show you
okay.
this email right now? Because I will gladly pull it off my phone and give it to you. Because
wait. Listen, just a second, okay? Yeah, there you go.
This is the first time, so.
Listen,
I'm sorry if I'm
you're
being a
doing,
little
you're
disrespectful.
doing just fine, okay? Now, let me suggest, and Mr. Dean, I think you might agree with this. If anybody wants to look at anything, okay, like you referred to or whatever, I think that should be on the side, unless you want to see it, Mr. Dean.
I think the
Okay.
council should see it
Because,
if
well,
that's the case.
wait,
Because he's telling me I'm a liar.
wait. The statement that you made, I've been doing this a while, and a lot of us have.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going to arrive at a decision based upon what you said. We
But I
won't.
think you should know it.
Uh,
I think there's nothing wrong with sharing it.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Okay, you have 3 minutes of rebuttal time.
Okay.
Now this is to the whole side over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can continue to speak on the topic, but you're going to use up your 3-minute rebuttal time.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Marone, I see your card in, so I assume you're representing? Okay. So Mr. Marone's going to have up to 10 minutes in rebuttal time. Do you want to use some of your rebuttal time now?
Just a few minutes of it, I think I do.
Okay, you got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So first off, I want to start off with the fact that Madisonville has grown from 4,420 people in 2010 to 13,672 with absolutely no infrastructure on the side of I-12, the south side of I-12 where we live, not even a red light to help the traffic move. That's one. For two, the rezone is unnecessary because like my husband said, Palm Courts and Madison Farms both have built subdivisions on HC2 and A3, and we spoke with Helen Lambert, the Assistant Director of the Planning and Zoning, and she said there's really no reason. He doesn't benefit from it, so it just makes us wonder as a community why he'd be wasting his money to do so. We don't know if it's the fact of the rezone with the right-of-way in Palm Courts, or the fact that that they just want to. We don't really know. So that's pretty much it. Here's the petition of the other 200 folks that we have signed, if y'all want to put that into your thing. And the people that we have, traffic was the top concern with 151 people in here. Drainage was 88 and schools were 38. Because
Okay.
of the amount of schools we've had to build a whole new school, Lancaster, because of the amount of people coming in. We don't have the room without the right infrastructure. That's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
there is to it.
Okay.
I'll take this,
Hand
petitions.
it over here to this table, please.
And thank you guys for hearing me out. I
No,
appreciate it.
thank you. And then look, y'all have still 1 minute and 31 for rebuttal
Yeah, we'll hold on to that.
after Mr. Marone, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Paul Marone on behalf of Mr. Kahanen, the proposed developer of this site. I'd like to step back just a minute and make sure we're all clear about exactly what the request is. We're talking about 19 acres, all of which is currently zoned HC2 or highway commercial. We're asking to take that HC2 highway commercial and rezone it to A3 residential. In my experience and in my view, that is a clear down zone. If approved, it would make this 19 acres more compatible with the surrounding area, and if developed under A3 as opposed to HC2, much less impactful on the area. Why do I say it would be more compatible? Well, first of all, the 19 acres is part of a 55-acre tract. All but the 19 acres is already zoned HC3. The property to our south is HC3. The property to our west, is A3. The property to our north is still HC2. All of the developed property in this area is zoned A4. All of the speakers you just heard from live on property zoned A4. I would submit to you that A3 is far more compatible with everything that is out there than the HC2. A4 allows 4 units per acre. We're not requesting A4. We're requesting A3, which is 2 units per acre. I'd like to just quote from the staff comments, just one line, because I think it helps support the compatibility of what this zoning would bring to this tract. A change in the zoning will allow for single-family residential development within an area surrounded by single-family residential uses and undeveloped land. It is making this property compatible with that which is around it. I said it would be less impactful if it were A3. Well, first of all, HC2 is one of your most intense commercial zones. It is a highway commercial zone. 19 acres of HC2 would allow 41 HC2 lots. It would allow 60-foot buildings. It would allow 40,000 square foot buildings. It would accommodate approximately 10 to 12 40,000 square foot buildings. That's 400,000 square feet of commercial. So when I say developing it at a half-acre density with A3 would be less impactful than leaving it HC2, that's exactly what I mean. That's what the current zoning allows. We're asking to do away with that. And I respectfully disagree with the speakers who have said, well, we could do single-family residential in the HC2 zone. I do not believe it is permitted. Multifamily is, but single-family residential, I do not believe it is permitted. The reason Palm Courts has any HC2, if it does, and/or Madison Farms, it was because it was overlaid in the comprehensive rezoning after those developments were in place. I do not believe that HC2 would allow the residential development that we hope to bring to this area. I recognize that there are concerns about traffic and drainage, and I'd like to talk briefly about both of those. Two things we know about traffic. If this zoning is approved, a traffic impact analysis will have to be performed at tentative. And the second thing we know is that 19 acres of highway commercial will bring far more traffic than A3 will. Those are two things we know. We expect to improve Jessicat Lane, which would be our primary access way. We expect to improve and widen Vista from Rex to our development. Those are improvements that we recognize we will have to take on to improve in the area. But let's talk about Rex for a minute. You've heard a lot about Rex tonight. I would submit to you that Rex is consistent with other similar situated roadways in St. Tammany Parish, and in particular in this area, with those other roadways carrying a great deal more volume of traffic than Rex. Let me give you three examples. Oak Park Drive, 18 feet wide, speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Parallel Road between Brewster and 22, 16 feet wide, 25 miles per hour. Dummy Line Road, 18 feet wide, speed limit 35 miles an hour. All of those roads are in close proximity to Rex. All of those roads carry far more volume than Rex does, even after this project is developed. So Rex, I would submit to you, is a typical road for these parts in St. Tammany Parish, and I would also submit to you that it has the capacity to accommodate our development. The TIA will tell us if it does or it doesn't, but we believe that it does, and I think these other roadways help support that. With regards to drainage, we know that a hydro study will have to be performed at preliminary. We know that we'll have to meet all of your ordinances regarding retention and the use of any fill on this site. We are confident from our initial studies of the area that we can meet those requirements. The idea that this development is going to put more water into Palm Courts or to any of our surrounding neighbors, I would respectfully submit is not accurate. Approximately, and I want to say this, approximately 2/3 of this site already goes to the north. It doesn't go to Palm Courts, doesn't go to the south or to the east. But we will have to assure that if developed, this tract has 25% less runoff than it does in its current state. And that's your ordinances. That's not a promise from us. We've got to do that to be able to build, and we're confident that we can achieve that goal. So I'll conclude with a few points, and I'll hit some of the points I made already because I think they're important. This is clearly a down zone. HC2 is far more intense, with far more intense uses than what we are proposing at A3, excuse me. All of the surrounding areas that is developed, that's not vacant, is A4. All of your speakers live on A4 property. It would be reasonable for us to come and ask for A4, but we're not. We're asking for A3. 2 units per acre, a very modest density. We understand traffic, we understand drainage, and we are prepared to address those with detailed studies that your ordinances require at the appropriate time. But if this zoning is approved, and if we take the HC2 19 acres and we rezone it to A3, it will be more compatible with the residential uses that are around us, be it less dense than they are. It'll be much less impactful than 19 acres of HC2. All of the concerns that you have heard tonight are exacerbated and made worse if the current zoning stands. If we're worried about traffic and drainage, 19 acres of HC2, respectfully, is not the answer. We are all much better off at 19 acres of A3. The Zoning Commission recommended favorably. They recommended approval of our request. I urge you to consider the points I've made this evening. I urge you to concur with the Zoning Commission and to uphold their recommendation and rezone this tract from HC2 to A3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Morone. Okay, Mr. Morone, yeah. Okay, sir, let's go back to, no, that's okay. Okay, so Mr. Morrow, your total time left on your side is 1 minute and 31 seconds. No, look,
Okay.
I'm just, for informational purposes.
First of all, I'd like to say the roads that he's comparing, Paraloo, and one, they have like 1 acre lots, so there's very few homes on Paraloo. We're talking about 300 homes. We don't even have quarter lot acres. So we've got tons more people, so he's just comparing apples to oranges. It just doesn't make any sense. And like I said, if y'all would go back there and look, you would agree with us. It's a very narrow road, and he's about 18-foot roads. I guarantee you our road's not 18-foot wide. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
No, yes, sir, Mr. Morrow, thank you. Ma'am, I'm sorry, what is your name,
My
ma'am?
name is Eugenia Labat, and I live at 125 Scott Street.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You have,
I understand.
wait, let's see. You have 56 seconds.
Okay, I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm in agreement with everything he says, except the property is landlocked. There has to be another road to get the trucks in and out. It cannot be used, Rex cannot be used. It's just, my house has been cracked from building Palm Courts. We didn't want Palm Courts built. And if this passes, and the only way in is by widening Vista and using Rex to get to it, then we have problems. We have problems. Rex is not, you cannot compare Rex to Dummy Line or Perry Lou. It's just not, you just can't do it. There's too many homes, not enough road, ditches on both sides. It's just not compatible, and it just can't be done. You need another access road to allow the trucks and all in. We have no problem with having the subdivision built, but just do not use Rex. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Morone, I think you have about 1 minute and 42 of your regular time.
Thank you. I don't think I'll need that much time. Just a few points in rebuttal. I respectfully disagree that the 3 roadways, Paraloo, Oak Park, and Dummy Line, are not good examples. And here's why I think they are good examples. The suggestion is, well, they have larger lots that front them than on Rex. All of those 3 roads are through roads. They are roads that go somewhere, that are traveled by many more people on a daily basis than the people that live along that roadway. Whereas that is not the case with Rex. Rex is used for the people that live in that area. Rex does not go anywhere. All of those roadways have capacities, traveling capacities of vehicles on a daily count far in excess of what Rex has. And so it's not a matter of what are the parcels that abut it when you have people all over the western side of St. Tammany Parish that are using those roadways to go and come. So that's a point that I wanted to make. The other point I'd like to make with regards to the traffic is simply that there is no other way in. If there was another way to access this property, then we would certainly do that. However, there are public roadways that are in place that provide us with access. And we're entitled to use those roadways if we can meet your ordinances in doing so. And we believe that we can, but we have to go through the planning process to either prove that or have that disproven in that process. But we are confident that we can meet your ordinances. All of that being said, this is a zoning case. This is a zoning case where we are asking you to take 19 acres of HC2 and get rid of that, get it out of this residential area, and to bring in A3. That's the beginning and the end of this request, respectfully. That's the most important factor I submit to you for your consideration this evening. Do we leave Highway Commercial 2, one of your most intense commercial zones, in place with all of the uses that it permits? Or do we bring A3 to the area where A3 already exists, that is less dense than the other residential development that is already there? To me, the decision seems clear. We should downzone this property to A3, and I hope you will concur and support the decision that was made by the Zoning Commission and their recommendation to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Morone. Okay. Mr. Morone, I'm assuming that you've completed. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Dean, would you like to go first?
Would the other two like to go first or not?
Yeah, I think it's probably better to go first and let you wrap it up.
Okay. Mr. Davis.
Yes, thank you, sir. Of all the years on the planning and zoning myself, you're looking at Highway Commercial 2, as Paul indicated. I mean, you want to have apartments out there, liquor stores. Right now, they could do that. They could come in, do a traffic study, figure out what they need to do to widen the road. They could do that now. Would you rather that with a minimum of 80-foot lot size, or would you have residential with a minimum of 100-foot lot size? These are the things. So right now, something can be built on it. I think that's the key what you have to look at. HC2 to A3, in all the years I've been to, I would love that to happen for every HC2, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how Martha's going to position it, but this would be, to me, it would be a much down zoning for intrusion. Also, I'm not big on having drive-through restaurants either, which an HC2 can have as well. So well, again, if it's a public road, they can have access.
Well,
No, yes,
wait.
a public road is a public road.
Excuse me one second, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Ma'am, he's making council comments right now, okay? The only way you can speak is if he wants to ask a question. So please refrain and let him make his comments, okay? No, he's making his comments. Thank you.
No, so I'm looking at it from a feasibility. Is it a down zoning? Yes. Looking at it now, if it's left at HC2, will the developer try to do something with it? Probably. Would it be more intrusive? Probably. So I'm looking at that. So from the zoning point of the view, again, it has to go to planning next if it's approved as A3, which is 100-foot lots, which is 2 units per acre, which means is he also probably have to have some roads inside of the development, which means is he won't be able to build 38 houses. So these are the things you have to look at versus just saying we don't want nothing out there. So that's all I have to say.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Canulet.
All right, so kind of piggybacking on what Jimmy said, we were kind of talking about this. These opportunities do not come around very often for us to have an opportunity to downsize from a HC2 to a A3. And I understand the residents, you have a lot of concerns with drainage and traffic. And the truth of the matter is a lot of the problems that you're dealing with is on the state level with the roads, especially on the main highways and the highways. Most of that stuff is state roads. It's not parish roads, it's state roads. And that's a whole nother game to get all that stuff addressed and fixed and widened. But, I mean, you could, if he wanted tomorrow, he could go put up 40, 50 apartments in a liquor store. And just to kind of help you out a little bit, whatever road's there, they can drive on it. They ain't even got to make improvements. It's ready to roll. All they got to do is go out there get the permit to clear it to start. And the citizens will have no repercussions because it's already HC2, our most intense zoning. It may not sound like it, and you might not think that this is a good deal, but this is about as good as you could possibly ask for, in my opinion, right now with the situations y'all are in, with the traffic and the drainage and everything else. And like they said, if they come in and develop this, they're going to have to improve it. They're going to have to improve it. They cannot not improve it. They have to improve it. So, and I will say this one thing, and this is just for my colleague down at the end, who I love picking on and ridiculing for years and years, but he's been doing this a long time, and he's, been pretty fair for a very, very long time, and he takes probably more heat than anybody on this council being in that district. I consider him a friend, and I still consider him a friend, so, but I do understand emotions from both sides, so that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Canulette. Mr. T.J. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As for my informational purposes only, and I think these questions that I have would be more appropriately addressed by Mr. Marone. There are three things, and I watched this case on the zoning commission level whenever it came up, and it was interesting to me, to say the least. Three things, though, you stated. The impact analysis, good or bad, I have to agree with. HC to residential, for a residential community. Traffic. You mentioned that TIA has to be done at the tentative level. At that point, a lot of things have already transpired leading up to that, if I'm not mistaken.
No, in fact, the only thing that would have transpired would be the rezoning. Nothing else. The next step in the process would be tentative. So still no work could have begun, no activity on the property whatsoever. We would roll right from zoning into tentative, where the traffic study would have to be done.
Great.
Yes, sir.
But when I looked at this diagram here, help me out, that's I-12 on the north of this property.
That's correct.
And as I heard stated to ad nauseum, it is kind of landlocked. So you mentioned that there were going to be some improvements to Jessica, Vista, and did you say Rex Avenue also?
So we anticipate having improvements to Jessica and Vista between Rex and Jessica. And then on Rex, we anticipate, we'll have to see what the traffic study says, but we anticipate needing to do some improvements where Rex meets Brewster to widen out that turning radius so that it's easier for people to get in and out of there.
So that's the extent of those improvements would be turning radiuses? Is there any other improvements that?
On Rex. On the others, we anticipate full widening.
Full widening?
Yes, sir.
And right now, they're about how wide, you think? 18?
Vista is about, well, Rex is 18, Vista is about 16. Let's see here. Let me look at my notes. Vista's 16, and the speed limit is 15 miles an hour.
Okay. And are there, to your best of your knowledge, are there any dividing lines on it now?
I've been out there. I don't believe on Vista there is.
Yeah, no?
I do not believe so.
You think that would be a part of your improvements, dividing
Absolutely.
lines? And okay, good.
Absolutely.
And finally, on drainage, I think I heard you say that currently the property drains to the north.
About 2/3 of it drains to the north currently.
Majority goes to the north, which would be toward the interstate?
Which would be, yes, toward the interstate. The Fox Branch actually crosses up in that area, and so about the 2/3 of the property goes that way at this point. Our goal would be able to take all the property to the north, retain it, and then discharge it into that basin.
And just from my understanding and knowledge, I'm not familiar with that area too much, but where does it outfall to? What drainage basin do you have?
Well, so it would go into the Fox Branch, and the Fox Branch would ultimately make its way, I believe, into the Chifuncta Basin, but don't hold me to that. I couldn't tell you exactly how it gets from that point over to the Little Chifuncta, but that's the route that it's taking.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Lorino.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bender. Paul, would you, I got you before you sat down. As you know, I represent the other part of Madisonville.
Yes, sir.
And I have a moratorium in Madisonville where this wouldn't transpire. But nevertheless, I understand what's going on. And the problem we have now is the people in Madisonville and also to the west, it's just so backed up and so much traffic. And as someone said down there, Highway 22 is a state highway. It's not a parish highway. And administration and myself and Mr. Dean, we have a lot of things coming to help working with them. But nevertheless, that's the frustration they have. It's no matter what goes there, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. My other issue is the lady that came up and said about the trucks passing and messing up her house. Had the same thing in Lewisburg. 200 trucks a day going by houses in Lewisburg, messed up the streets, messed up everything. Are you all willing or required, maybe the administration, someone from the administration could answer this question, to sign, number one, to check the streets how they are now, check the streets when they're done, put a bind up so that when they finished, if there's an issue, that it would be taken care of automatically. Wouldn't be any suits, wouldn't be people with cracks in there. That's something that needs to happen. Also, what needs to happen is when this is done, this group needs to sit down and work with those residents, if it passes, and limit the times that those trucks go by. I've been through this, I know, okay? And there's another one getting ready to come in the same area that I just talked about in mine. But the bottom line is, I understand what they're saying. I totally understand. I don't know how we can fit any more in there, anything. I don't know how long that property has been zoned HC2. Probably should have never, ever been zoned HC2 with all those residents. And we did that. Somebody did that for some stupid reason. But bottom line, this is a very tough one, Paul, as you know, especially for me in that area. But I think there needs to be a commitment from your client to work with these people on these issues that we have there. And I know you can't, I'm just giving it to you now.
Sure.
Okay?
If I could, I'll maybe
yes.
start from the last one and work back. I think there were three
Yes, sir. And I
points
appre-
in there
I
that you
appreciate
wanted
it,
me to
Paul. I
address.
appreciate it.
The last one about our willingness to have a dialogue and talk with the residents. We're more than happy to do that. We've already met with some of them, not all of them, but we are happy to have a dialogue going forward about the project, about how the project gets implemented, so that we can be sensitive to the concerns of the people that live out there and that would be affected. So we can commit to that. I know my client well enough to know that we will commit to that. Your second point was with regards to the damage to the roadways and so forth. I believe, and certainly somebody from staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but we are required to post a bond. Since we don't access on a state highway where that would not be required, we access off of parish roads, we are required to post a bond in the event there is any damage that has resulted from our development. So if we crack streets, run over curbs, hit stop signs, those things, one, we're obligated to fix it. But if we didn't fix it, there is a bond there to assure that happens. And then finally, your statement about the overall traffic frustrations that we see in your district and other areas of St. Tammany Parish. I said during my presentation that I understand those concerns. I do understand those concerns. I've lived here my whole life. I know very, very well the traffic and the frustration that everybody in this room and everybody in this parish is experiencing. So I'm aware of that. We're keenly aware of that. A few things I would say to that point, though. One, if we go through and this zoning is passed and the traffic study says that there is no more capacity, then all you've done is get rid of HC2 in that area. For that, that's a good thing, I would submit. Two, remember, and I don't mean to suggest that this is going to fix the parish's problems, but remember, we do have impact fees that are going to be paid on this development that can be part of the solution. That has to be coupled with others. There has to be seed money for bigger pots. But there is a contribution acknowledging that there's traffic improvements that need to be made. Thirdly, to that point, I would say that if this project was approved tonight, if we had a home built with residents driving to and from it in 2.5 years, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I'm looking for Andrew to tell me if I'm misspeaking there, but I don't think I am, because there's a long process here at the parish. Then we've got to build the infrastructure. Then we've got to sell the lots. Then the home's got to be built. 2.5 years would be remarkable if we had our first group of homes ready to go at that point. What does that mean? I know that, Mr. Lorino, you've been working very diligently on improvements down in Highway 22. I know there's a roundabout that were instrumental in, I think with President Cooper, to make that happen. And I know that there are other improvements that you all are working on for the entire area. That time that I just mentioned gives time for some of these improvements to be in place. It doesn't fix all the problems, but it's important to understand that tonight is a first step in a very long process. If this rezoning is done, there are years, many projects, and much improvement that can be done in that time frame that can help these very frustrating problems we all experience. Thank you, Mr. Lorino.
Thank you, Mr. Morone. Ms. Casbon.
Yes, I don't know if it's called a little more encouragement, but you made a statement about the floodwaters coming toward y'all and it was running that way. One of the things that the developer has to do is to reduce the runoff from his property at least, just the least is 25%. What I have found is when they do present the drainage study, they have to put the correct retention or detention or drainage in. That what it does is eliminate some of the lots because they have to use some of those lots for that purpose. But in these developments, they have to reduce it. They cannot put it on you. So it's one of the things that we look at instead of, and it's much easier to do that with a residential area than it would be with commercial because you have more of the concrete and things like that with the commercial. So just a little more information on what they have to do.
Thank you, Ms. Casbon. Mr. Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I have been on this council probably about 18 and a half years. I've never yelled out like that, so I apologize to you for doing that and to the council. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. I'm thinking what I may have meant in my email was that there are a lot of other houses. There are places around you all. There's places to the west that is residential, all of that. So when people do come in and buy into, say, Tammany Parish, they need to know what is around them, all right? So I do apologize, and I want to do that in front of everybody. Let's talk just real quick about the history of that place. And this goes back many years when I think his name was Marino, developed Palm Courts. There was some property that was donated along the highway, still is donated along the highway, and they had looked at putting a service road from Seymour Myers going back there and accessing that commercial. So there is donated land already to access that. Probably about a year or so ago, and don't hold me to the dates, but about a year and a half or so ago, a guy came to me, said, I want to develop this piece of property. I want to make it all A4, change the commercial to A4, make the whole thing A4. I said, don't do it. Don't go to the zoning commission. They're going to shoot you down. And if they don't, I am. What did he do? He went before the zoning commission and asked for all A4, looking at probably over 160 or so homes. So we kind of went back and forth, and I told him anyway. So he never did really come back to me. He wanted a bud and all that kind of mess. Never did come back to me. So when Mr. Kahanen there called me, and he said he wanted to do that only with A3, because let's face it, I mean, right now, and I know nobody likes to hear this, but right now they could start building on how many acres of A3? What is it? No, what happens is 30. So there are 30 acres of HC3. I mean of A3 right now. North of that is a 19 commercial. So they could start building A3 right now. All right, 30 acres at 60 homes, give or take, and then 19 acres. So you're looking at another third. So you're looking at trading off. And I know you don't want anything, and I don't blame you. But you're looking at trading off 19 acres of commercial for 38 homes. I will tell you, too, that I've had people in touch with me about the property to the west of you. And I'm not just looking at you all, I'm looking at everybody. But to the west of you, by Powerline Road, all of that. Unfortunately, I mean, I live in Covington. I'm surrounded by, or not surrounded, but I got a bunch of woods they're being cut down and houses are being built. So that's not happy for anybody. But anyway, at the end of the day, when you look at this, I am concerned that Rex Road's an 18-foot road. We just paved it not long ago. Deep ditches on both sides. There are 6 cross streets. Vista is the last one. You hit Vista, take a left, and then you hit Jesse Cat, and that's the way that they would access their property. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you all approached Palm Courts to see if you could go in there and make that another. I don't know if you did or if we just discussed it. Well, nobody did. Okay. If I could ask Mr. Malone a question.
Yeah, we did have some discussions with some of the people in Palm Courts. They did not want us to make that connection above, which we told them it was our intent not to. We could not commit to that until the traffic study. If the traffic study or the parish mandates that, then we would have to certainly consider that. But our hope is not to have to make a vehicular connection through Palm Courts, not to have to do that, which is what they wanted.
My biggest concern, and I'll just say this, my biggest concern is not the 90 homes or so that would be built. My biggest concern is the time during construction. I'm not, and I don't do things out of fear. I try to stay with the facts, so I'm not thinking people are going to be killed and all that. I worry about the construction time with the concrete trucks and all that on Rex Road. So we gotta kind of agree that that's not going to affect them in any way. But anyway, at the bottom, at the end of the day, we're downzoning from HC2 to A3 half-acre lots. So I'm going to make a motion to to concur with the zoning approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dean. So we have a motion to concur with the zoning approval by Mr. Dean, seconded by Mr. Jimmy Davis. Seeing no comments, please vote.
The motion passes with 13 yeas and 1 nay.
Okay, Mr. Dean, we need introduction of an ordinance. Okay, I just need a second. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Thank you. Okay, under appeals, number 7 is Victor Abel, Rasta J. Bursalam, Betty Guidry Davenport, and Ben Martino appealing the zoning commission approval on July 5th, 2022 to rezone .46 acres located at the end of Henriquez Road, west of Highway 59, Covington, from A1A Suburban District to A1A Suburban District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay, Ward 3, District 2. And Ms. Abel.
Thank you. I just want you to consider denying the request for that rezoning. They want to put mobile homes on less than a half acre, and there are hundreds of lots that are 25 by 100, and if that is allowed, then people can go in and get all of those small lots and put hundreds of homes. And the reason I'm protesting this too is it said in the bottom of here that a study was done in 2010, the Northeast Study Area per Council Ordinance 10-2233. I tried to get a copy of that. I requested it. The district attorney, Andrew Joyner, said it was out and checked out. So I hope all of you were the ones that were reading it, because I have not been able. It said they would let me know as soon as it came in and get me a copy. Nobody has gotten back to me. My understanding is that in 2010, the Military Road Civic Association got together with Mr. Richard Channer, Mr. Smith, Mr. Hall, I don't know who all was on the zoning commission then, and really did this study. Now, they wanted to keep the north area coming into Covington beautiful, residential, someplace you can be proud of to come into Covington. So they voted from Highway 59, from Abita to 21, west, that any lots from then on would be 2 acres, no mobile homes would be allowed, and that way they would preserve the historical area because of the Military Road is a historical road, and also protect the ozone area that we had there. Now, my concern is by allowing these 2 trailers, homes and lots to go in, you're opening it up now for them, anybody that wants to now get these small lots from 59 all the way to Military Road, across to the Little Bogafalaya River. And can you imagine if they took that road and put all of those homes and small lots, not just mobile homes now, if they could get the small lots, it would really not be the beautiful area that welcomes you into Covington from the north. So I didn't get to read that ordinance because no one got it back to Mr. Joyner, and no one got to me, but I hope some of you all were able to read why they went to the trouble of doing that study in 2010. They thought it was so important, and it's titled, it's got a title, the Northeast Study Area. And that's what you all will be overturning. And my thought is, if they thought it was so important to our area back in 2010 to do that study and to vote that in, it must be equally important now to keep this area. And that's all that, I just was hoping that some of you had been able to read that ordinance, but I don't know where it went or if anybody saw it. And I still would like to know exactly who was on the planning commission, who was on the zoning commission. I wanted to get a copy of that so I can really thank them for trying to keep Covington beautiful. But it's not available, so if any of you can get it, I appreciate it. And that's the reason I would like for you all to deny that overturning of that ruling. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we have Ms. Rasta Barcelem. Am I pronouncing that correct? Oh, Mr.
Hi, everyone.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Rasta Burslem, 21386 Oswald Road. I live right through the woods. Henrique is on 59, and I'm right through the woods on Oswald. And I was just concerned that the owner of the property is a holdings company. And putting a trailer is probably just going to be a rental. If they were to build a house, it would probably be, you know, and then my mother-in-law lives right back against that property.
Is that all, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so you all have more time left if you need it, okay? That's all the speakers I have appealing. And we have no other cards, so I'm sorry, ma'am?
I said I don't have any more to say because I do have a sick husband at home.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. I don't, Mr. Fitzgerald, I don't have a card in from it. Oh, Mr. Shane?
Yes, sir. I guess I was remiss in not turning a card in. But
we accept.
I apologize, but I represent the property owner and petitioner.
Okay.
Would appreciate an opportunity.
Sure.
So good evening. Jeff Shane, and I represent H&S Holdings. We are my client is the property owner of the sites in question that seek MHO zoning. I have given you a letter this evening with an attachment, same one that you got by email from me on Tuesday. And so I would start off by saying that the two sites at the end of Enrique Road were favorably recommended by a vote of 8-3 by the Zoning Commission to allow for MH zoning at this site, and I think for good reason. And in that regard, I'd like to give you some facts that I think you would hopefully find interesting. Number one, the zoning staff report has no negatives in it as it relates to the possibility of the sites being zoned MHO, and in fact acknowledges that there are in fact mobile homes in the area. Number two, and I think very importantly, if you look at Enrique Road, it has 7 residences on it, 6 of which are mobile homes, only 1 of which is a stick-built home. So there's a very strong predominance of mobile homes on Enrique Road. Number 3, at the Zoning Commission meeting, there was only 1 resident of Enrique Road that came and spoke to the case. And it was a gentleman that lives in a mobile home literally across Enrique from these 2 sites. And he emphatically and clearly spoke in favor of the change of zoning, believing that his street was dominant with mobile homes, that he thought that there were nice people, nice residences, and I'll use his words, and I quote, more mobile homes would be the right fit in the particular location where my client seeks the MHO zoning. Interestingly, and the last fact, all of the speakers at the Zoning Commission meeting, as well as both of the speakers this evening, live on Oswald Road, not Enrique Road. And that is not to suggest that they don't have the right to speak to the issue. Clearly they do. They live in the vicinity, the area, and even if they were just a resident or citizen of St. Tammany Parish, we understand and respect their opinion. But at that point, I'd like you to take a look at the vicinity map that I've given you that was attached to the letter that I handed out this evening. So take a look, if you will, to the north at Oswald Road. And please note that there's a considerable distance, maybe a third of a mile from Oswald to Enrique Road, and more than that. And in that space, there are only 3 residences, and all 3 are mobile homes between Oswald and Enrique on the west side of Highway 59. And then let's take a look at Enrique, and you'll see the 2 proposed sites to the rear of Enrique. And again, there are 6 mobile homes and 1 stick-built home. With regard to the lots, it's a little misleading. Yes, there are 8 lots in this application, but the lots are only 25 feet wide, and they're 100 feet long. As a practical matter, this will be 2 50-foot wide by 200-foot deep sites. Each site will only accommodate 1 trailer. So the request is for MHO that would facilitate the possibility of 2 more mobile homes on a street that already has 6 mobile homes, and where no one on the street seems to be opposed to having a mobile home there. The other point I would like to make is that I don't know about the legislation that Ms. Abel refers to in the past, but she brought this up at the zoning commission level. And since then, I did my own research to make sure that there's no existing ordinances of any sort that prohibits you from considering rezoning these 2 parcels to MHO, and there clearly aren't. The other thing I think that's important, having been around for a few years and watching the history of mobile home zoning in our parish, it is somewhat misleading to suggest that there's no MHO zoning in a particular area. We didn't have an MHO zone until we went and rewrote the code in '09 and did comprehensive zoning in 2010. And the suggestion that the 6 mobile homes on Enrique Road are non-conforming uses are technically correct. But I would also bet, from looking at those structures, that they were in existence prior to comprehensive rezoning. They procured conditional use permits to place the trailers out there. At the time that they put their trailers on Enrique Road, the law only required you to get a conditional use permit. There was no MHO zoning available, is my point. So although I think it's always important to have an idea of what the mix is in an area, and the zoning commission, in my view, does an excellent job of analyzing these cases, and I don't say that because they made the recommendation in this case. I watch them on certain nights, turn them down. But what they try to look at very carefully is what is the mix, what is the trend, what are the predominant feelings of the people that live on the road in that particular area. I'm not saying that that's golden or that it's science, but I think it's important. So in summary, what have I presented to you this evening, and what have we heard? We're talking about 2 mobile home sites at the very end of the road, a road that has 6 mobile homes and 1 stick-built home, a road that only had 1 resident that felt strongly about this case and came to the zoning commission and applauded the petitioner for his effort and said he thought another mobile home would be a neighbor for him and would be the right fit. And then if I take a look at the west side of Highway 59 going to the north up to Oswald Road, I only find 3 mobile homes. That is not a criticism of the people that live on Oswald Road or the type residences they have. They've made choices, and their homes are beautiful or very adequate for them. But I don't think it's fair to suggest that this is a problem, that it's a mistake. I think the zoning commission got it right, and I hope and would appreciate your consideration of concurring with the zoning commission and granting MHO zoning for these sites.
Thank you, Mr. Shane. Appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Okay, Mr. Fitzgerald. Wait, excuse me. Thank you. Excuse me 1 second, Mr. Fitzgerald. Sir, Rasta, sir, do you want to use any rebuttal time, or do you want to speak any more on this? You have time if you want to, but that's up to you. Okay, well, okay, thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I've been out there, I talked with the petitioner on a number of occasions, and, none of us up here take these decisions lightly. And I know we all try to do our due diligence and try to blend what the regulations say and what the area has and the particular situation itself. Heavily wooded area, a good distance from Oswald Road. I read everyone's, listened to everyone's messages, I read everyone's emails, responded to Mr. Abel's email. Mr. and Mrs. Abel, fine people. They own property on both sides of the road. One of the chief property owners own Oswald Road. So their vacant land would put them in closer proximity to the two trailers, but it is vacant at the moment. And really, I don't think the two additional mobile homes will be in sight. As far as an additional two mobile homes, that's going to be it. I've talked with the petitioner at length. He has no plans on making a trailer park out of the land between Enrique and Oswald. He's got the two. He's experienced in this endeavor. He runs a good operation, rents to good people, and maintains his rental property well. And that matters. The gentleman in proximity, closest proximity to the manufactured homes, had no objection. It's not the telling evidence, but it is a consideration. Sure, if you want to come up.
The vacant land that you talked about is right next door. My mother-in-law lives right there where the trailers would be built, so it's not all vacant.
About how far does she live away, you
She
think?
would be catty corner to the back of that lot. Okay, say this was the two trailer lots, she would be catty corner to the back of it.
She accesses her property from Oswald? Yeah.
That's all.
Well, thank you for that, but I still don't think she's going to be in the line of sight of the mobile homes. I don't. Well, and it's wooded behind the house, right? Yeah. Well, fine. And thanks for your comment. And look, this isn't a march against your mother, or not a march against any of the people on Oswald Road, but rather it's just a reconciliation of the property, the way the property, the lay of the land is, and the fact that we have other manufactured homes there. Where are we going to put these manufactured homes? Well, it would be nice to put them, to me, in a wooded area where there are other manufactured homes. So based on that, and I just wanted to say we don't take these decisions lightly, but I do not think that at the outcome is going to in any way impact anybody on Oswald Road. To that extent, I move to concur with the Planning and Zoning Commission's approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. We have a motion to concur with the Zoning Commission approval. Have a second. Second by Mr. Airy. Seeing no one else, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgerald, we need a motion to introduce an ordinance. Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Thank you. Okay, moving to appeal number 10. Tim Militello appealing the zoning commission denial on July 5th, 2022 to rezone .35 acres located on the south side of LA Highway 22, west of Timber Road Court, east of Bootlegger Road, Madisonville, from A2 Suburban District to HC3 Highway Commercial District, Ward 1, District 4. We have Mr. David Wright, and it
Correct.
says you're representing the appellant?
I am.
Okay.
It's Tim.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir, can you give us your name and that? Well, no, we have it here. We have it, thank you.
Yes, so I think what's the most important thing is for y'all to get a clear picture of this property. It's been a warehouse there for 25 to 30 years. It sits in front of a single residence that was built, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago that's been abandoned. Beautiful house, but it has been abandoned. They had some roof damage to it, and they have not repaired it, and it's molded out is the house that's behind it. There's some HC2 zoning that's across the street and further down. The warehouse, you have two beautiful pine trees that are in the front of the property. There's a carport that can easily be relocated to have more additional parking in the front of the warehouse. And then you have parking all along the property that could be angle parking. And the property's a key lot, which means that it's the shape of Oklahoma. So you have actually land back behind the property. It's only .35 acre. Usually a property like this would be zoned I-1. But for some reason it's zoned A2. And the owners are looking to get it rezoned to Highway Commercial 1. They're not looking to change the building. It was used most recently for appliances, being in there for the last 5 to 7 years. And before that was an insurance adjuster, had been there years. It's an attractive warehouse. It's been taken care of. It sits back a good distance back, and then behind that is an office building. It doesn't have any bedrooms. There's no walls. There's no closets. It has been renovated by the owners. And I could go on and on. Is there any questions? The warehouse is 2,100 square feet. The house is right over 1,100 square feet. It's been totally renovated. It's been used for office off and on for the last 10 to 12 years. It's a cute house. There is access to where it could easily move the air conditioning system to the warehouse to be able to get parking down to the rear of the house. Any questions? It's an air-conditioned warehouse, and the office building sits behind the warehouse, all the way behind it. So it sits here, and the warehouse runs this way. So this is the front of the property. So you have a good amount of parking over here. There's covered areas that could easily be removed to create more parking on both sides of the building, the little office building. Let's see, there's a roll-up door to the metal warehouse. It doesn't sit in the front of the building, the warehouse.
Thanks, Jake.
It's 4 miles outside of Madisonville. Usually a property like this would be zoned I-1. I don't see anything being changed about the property. It's always going to be what it is. It should just be zoned what it it is.
Okay, you'll have more time left if you need it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Excuse me, okay, I'm told I don't have any cards from an opposing side. Is there anyone on the opposing side of this appeal? Okay. Mr. Wright, I'm assuming, since there's no one on the opposing side to speak, that you've finished speaking? Okay, thank you, sir. With that, Mr. Lorino.
I'll let Mr. Davis go first.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Are you sure? Yeah, I think looking at this case, there's a couple of obviously things. Again, what the zoning commission did is that the surrounding area is zoned A2. I mean, that's just a fact. But the biggest thing, I think, one of the reasons why they denied this is that the square footage is too small. The minimum square footage to zone HC2 is 20,000 square foot, and this lot's only 15,246. So realistically, I just don't see how we can go ahead and approve and overturn this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Lorino.
Boy, I am glad I asked Mr. Davis that question.
I'm telling you.
Am I having a flashback?
I think Mr. Davis was very cautious in his approach to you, Mr. Lorino. He was apparently advised by Mr. Drum, okay, to be cautious. Mr. Lorino.
Well, sir, I know exactly where the property's at, and it's a tough one, but it is surrounded by houses, and doesn't meet the requirement to do it. I'm sorry? Well, do they have some time left?
Yes, sir, they do.
You're more than welcome to come up.
Now, Mr. Militaro, I'm sorry, I offered Mr. Wright as your...
He's going to say he's going to make it a little bit bigger.
Well, they're building a hardware store right down the road.
Okay.
It's the same situation, residential neighborhood behind it.
Yeah.
On the sides and across, just like mine is. This place that I have is only going to be a commercial. There's no way it's going to be a residence. My wife and I have lived in St. Tammany Parish for 32 years. At Madisonville, like 28. We made a lot of friends here. We moved away. We moved back to Monroe. That's our hometown. And we just bought this place for an investment property. And we just want to do something with it. We don't want to let it sit there and rot. And if we have to, I guess that's what we're going to do. We suggested maybe going NC4 or HC1. If that would be more appropriate, we'd do that. I tried to call a councilman and get some information, maybe some advice, but I never heard back. And I can understand how busy everybody is.
Well,
really can. But if we can downgrade it to another zone, that would be okay with me. I got to do something with the property. It's never going to be a residence.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Gotcha. Maybe what we could do is table it and then have you go back to planning and zoning with some of the changes that you want to do. Because right now, it's one thing when it's sitting in the middle of all the houses and you want to do that. Even though you're going to keep it the way it is now, it's just something that we have. Plus for the fact it doesn't meet the requirement. That's number one. And so if you would like, I'll be happy to table this. Then you and I can talk to planning and zoning and see if it would be better to switch to another one, and then we can do it, okay? And I'll be happy to do that if you would like me to do that.
That's what I want to do.
Okay, because we don't want to go the other way.
I realize HC2 was an overkill.
Yes,
And
yes.
I
You know,
went in, I talked to
and
Ms.
it's one
Lambert.
thing, and you know this, it's nice to stand up there, and I could believe you, and I understand that. But the other people see see it, and then they see what's underneath it that can go there. And some of them can't sleep at night when they know something like that might happen, even though you're a good person.
Yep.
Okay? So I'm gonna make a motion to table it. That way we'll leave it like it is. Then you and I will talk, and I'll talk to my person in the office, and then we'll see how we can handle this and
That
see if
sounds
we
fair.
can change it.
That's
We
fair.
might have to kill it completely and have you refile. I don't know the answer to that right now. But if that happens, we're not in a hurry anyway.
That sounds good.
Okay?
All right. Thank
Mr. Lorino, I just want to clarify that you want to postpone this to the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm just using that word while we're talking. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good not to move forward, but that's okay. You can come on up.
On the right side of this property is all vacant land.
I know the property. I live I live 3 miles from the property.
Should it be I-1?
Okay.
Should it be I-1?
Well, as I said, let's look at it and let's see what we can do.
Mr. Lorino.
Yes, sir.
You might not believe this.
What's that?
Mr. Davis wants to speak.
Good. Jimmy, you got it.
Go
sir.
ahead, Jimmy.
I applaud Mr. Lorino for attempting to table this and have more discussion. Just as a point of thought, NC1 is also the same amount of square footage so it'd still be not appropriate for even an NC1, just to let you know.
Postpone.
Postpone, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Okay, motion to postpone by Mr. Lorino, seconded by Mr. Toledano. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is under appeals. Is Tim,
That's what we just did.
excuse me?
We just did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. Moving to ordinances for adoption. Item 1 is ordinance calendar number 6959, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 6 acres of land from its present NC1 professional office district and NC4 neighborhood institutional district to an HC3 highway commercial district, Ward 3, District 5. Mr. Toledano.
He just walked out. But you have a call.
Okay, motion by Mr. Dean. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Canulet. Now, we do have a speaker card. Is this Lisby Eustace? Yes, ma'am. Okay, now, Ms. Eustace.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not an appeal, the limit is 3 minutes, no more than 3 minutes.
I
okay?
understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all, council members and Parish President Mike Cooper, for taking this on. Thank you so much for the postponement. Last month I was traveling and not able to be here. I'm representing the Prieto family. We do have an accepted letter of intent on this property, which we're very excited about. It is a car dealership, and once we get the contract in place, which we think will be in the next couple of weeks, they will start their due diligence and hopefully close within about 5 or 6 months. So it's a perfect location. They need the HC3 zoning, and we would appreciate your consideration.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. We had the motion by Mr. Toledano and a second by who?
It was Dean and Kayla.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Mr. Dean made the motion.
Kayla.
And Mr. Canulet seconded. Ms. Casborn, do you want to speak? Okay.
I stepped out, I did not realize this was.
Oh, that's right. You,
I would have made the motion.
yes, sir.
Mr. Dean made the
Yes, he made the motion. Yes. Okay. Seeing no other comments, please vote.
Dean always
The
He
motion
does.
is unanimous with one absent.
Item 2 is ordinance calendar number 7014, ordinance to declare multiple tax adjudicated properties as surplus property and authorize the parish to proceed with the process for the advertising and sale of such adjudicated properties. I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Item 3 is ordinance calendar number 7015, ordinance authorizing the parish of St. Tammany to acquire servitude for drainage improvements in Crossgate subdivision, Ward 8, District 9. Mr. Mike Smith. Motion by Mr. Mike Smith, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 4 is ordinance calendar number 7016, ordinance authorizing the parish of St. Tammany through the office of the parish president to acquire certain parcels, rights of way, and our servitudes for debris storage and processing, Ward 3, District 3. Ms. Casbon. Okay, you want to postpone for 1 month?
Postpone for 1 month.
Okay. So a motion by Ms. Casbon to postpone till the September meeting, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any comments? Please vote.
Mr. Lorino? Just hit it once. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 5 is ordinance calendar number 7017, ordinance authorizing the parish of St. Tammany to acquire certain parcels in our servitudes for improvements to drainage, Ward 1, District 1. Mr. Dean. Motion by Mr. Dean, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 6 is ordinance calendar number 7018, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify .34 acres of land from its present A1A suburban district to an A1A suburban district and MHO manufactured housing overlay, Ward 7, District 7. Mr. Davis.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 7 is ordinance calendar number 7019, an ordinance to officially name the 40-foot road identified in the attached survey Cavalier Road, Ward 5, District 6. Ms. Tanner. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
I got one question.
Oh, yes, sir.
We did clear with 911, right? Because we can't have the same name for Cavalier's been cleared, right?
If you check the name, yes.
Okay, thank you. No, that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's taken care of.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Please vote.
Mr. Drum? Okay. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 8 is ordinance calendar number 7021, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify .757 acres of land from its present A2 suburban district to a PF1 public facilities district, Ward 3, District 2. Mr. Fitzgerald.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no other comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 9 is ordinance calendar number 7022, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 2.34 acres of land from its present HC2 Highway Commercial District to an HC2 Highway Commercial District and rural overlay, Ward 7, District 7. Mr. Davis.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mr. Airy. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 10 is ordinance calendar number 7023, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify .32 acres of land from its present A3 suburban district to an A3 Suburban District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay, Ward 10, District 2. Mr. Fitzgerald.
So move.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Dean. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with one absent.
Thank you. Item 11 is ordinance calendar number 7024, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 2 acres of land from its present A3 Suburban District to an HC2 Highway Commercial District, Ward 4, District 5. Mr. Toledano.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Dean. Okay, at this, we have a speaker card from Mr., is it Sean Johnfro? Okay, come on up, sir. And Mr. Johnfro, you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll take one. Ashley, take one.
Yes, sir.
Sean Johnfro, 1248 Sycamore Place, Mandeville, Louisiana. What we do is we have 7 acres here, and we're trying to get the 2 acres to go commercial. We're looking to go to a HC2 with restrictions. I know with the HC2, it brings a lot of gas stations and big boxes and stuff like that. So what we're willing to do is go with a restriction. Because we're looking to do, it'd be like a used car lot with trucks and RVs.
Okay. Mr. Toledano.
Thank you. Did I understand you to say you were willing to put some restrictions on this property?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I know, I live in Quail Creek, and I know the big concern with the big boxes and stuff like that. I know we have the industrial park going in at 1088 and I-12, and the big concern on 1088 is, putting a gas station there, stuff like that. So.
Mr. Bennett, with that having been said, I'm going to amend my motion to simply postpone this matter to the next meeting when I can get together with Mr. Johnfro and talk about those restrictions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Toledano. So, Dan, we have a motion by Mr. Toledano to postpone till the September meeting. Seconded by Mr. Davis. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Mr. Johnfro, would you reach out to me? I don't think I have any contact information for you.
No, but I would definitely call you. Because I called you one time and you called me right back, so.
Yeah.
I know you guys got heat, but, you.
Tell all your friends and neighbors that
Yeah, you called me right back, so.
Somebody's called.
Yeah, he did call me
I
back.
go Reichert, man. He's got a big smile.
You're directing to my campaign. Just joking. Just kidding.
Okay, thank you, sir.
The motion is unanimous with 2 absent.
Item 12 is ordinance calendar number 7025, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 6.592 acres of land from its present A1 Suburban District to an A1A Suburban District, Ward 2, District 2. Mr. Fitzgerald.
So move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Dean. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with 1 absent.
Thank you. Item 12 is ordinance calendar number 7025, an ordinance amending the official zoning map to reclassify 6.592 acres of land from its present A1 Suburban District to an A1A Suburban District, Ward 2, District 2. Mr. Fitzgerald. We just got that one.
That's right.
Item 13 is ordinance calendar number 7026, an ordinance to remove gravel pit road from the St. Tammany Parish Selective Road Inventory, Ward 6, District 6. Ms. Tanner.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 14 is ordinance calendar number 7027, an ordinance to correct the road and drainage inventory to include Home Oak Lateral, Ward 4, District 4. Mr. Lorino. Motion by Mr. Lorino, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Seeing no further comment, please vote. Oh, I'm sorry.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 15 is ordinance calendar number 7028, an ordinance accepting the finalized subdivisions into the road and drainage inventory, specifically River Highland subdivision, Phase 1, Ward 3. Now, let me let everyone know. It says District 9, obviously, Mr. Mike Smith. That's a typo. It is District 5, Mr. Toledano, okay?
Correct.
So because it's just a typo, we can move forward on it.
Right, I so move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
That's a hell of a comment.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
That's a hell of a mistake.
Hey.
All we can tell you is Talladega, he answers his phone.
Item 16, ordinance calendar number 7029, ordinance accepting the finalized subdivisions into the road and drainage inventories, specifically Simpson Farm subdivision, Phase 1, Ward 3, District 3. Ms. Casbon.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Casbon, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Mr. Toledano. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 17 is ordinance calendar number 7030, ordinance establishing a parking zone on Tammany Avenue, starting at Lee Road Water Company property to the end, and it's not showing, that's yours, Dave? Okay. Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Lorino. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion passes with 13 yeas and 1 nay.
Thank you. Item 18 is ordinance calendar number 7031, excuse me.
With the verbal correction
Okay.
from Mr. Toledano, the motion is unanimous with no one absent.
I think that compliments got you a little bit. Okay, item 18 is ordinance calendar number 7031 AA, ordinance to amend the 2022 operating budget amendment number 7. Ms. Tanner.
I would like to offer a substitute ordinance. Worked with the administration and members of the council, and we will not be increasing the budget, but rearranging from different line items and departments. So
Yes, ma'am.
For a substitute motion.
Okay, that's the substitute motion which we have, and we will need a second on that, okay? So now, let's vote on the substitute first of all.
This is just a substitute.
Yes, just vote on amending it with a substitute. No. Okay,
The
now,
motion is unanimous with no one absent.
okay, that's, yes, ma'am. So we have the amended, which is the substitute, that's approved, and now we're amending, introduction by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Airy. That's all we need, and that will be reintroduced at the next council meetings.
For adoption.
Excuse me. Screen says up for adoption.
Next month, it'll be up for adoption.
Yeah. Excuse me. Next month, it will be up for adoption. Thank you. Item 19 is ordinance calendar number 7032, ordinance to amend the 2022 grants budget amendment number 7. I need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Mr. TJ. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 20 is ordinance calendar number 7033, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 45, St. Tammany Parish Library Facilities. I need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Davis. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 21 is ordinance calendar number 7034, an ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 46, sales tax district 3, bond funds. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Item 22 is ordinance calendar number 7035, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 47, transportation grants management. I need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Canulette, seconded by Mr. Mike Smith. No further comments. Please vote.
Mr. Drum. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 23 is ordinance calendar number 7036, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 48, sales tax district 3, general maintenance. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Lorino, seconded by Ms. Tanner. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Ms. Casabon. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Item 24 is ordinance calendar number 7037, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 49, buildings, general, St. Tammany Parish fishing pier facilities. Need a motion and amendment. Motion by Mr. Airy, seconded by Mr. Davis. I have a quick question. Mr. Daniel Hill, could you come up real quick, sir? So, Daniel, I know that y'all have been working diligently with FEMA, with the back and forth. They'll come, no, we'll take your word for it.
Yes.
Where do we stand now with this? I mean, can you tell us a little bit more on this?
We're waiting for the funds to be approved to do the more detailed inspection that FEMA is
Oh, okay.
wanting to proceed it. So
Great.
I'm sitting here waiting, ready for y'all to vote on this tonight to get going.
Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate all your work and the administrations as well.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, please, we have a motion and a second? Okay, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Item 25 is ordinance calendar number 7038, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets ward, amendment number 50, drainage parish-wide. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Tanner, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote. What you got, Jake?
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
You thought Martha was what? Okay. Item, yes, sir.
I'd like to apologize for not hitting my Jay before, but I was misled by somebody saying we might leave before 2 o'clock.
Mr. Drum, if Mr. Lorino wasn't occupied right now, I'd turn you over to him again. We're going to get done. Come on, let's go. Almost needed you for Mr. Drum again, Mr. Lorino. Yeah, I will. All right, item 26 is ordinance calendar number 7039 AA, ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 51, utility operations, utility capital. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Mike Smith, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Mr. Toledano? The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 27, ordinance calendar number 7040, ordinance to revoke an unopened portion of the Coors Carson Street, Ward 4, District 7. Mr. Davis.
Yes. So moved.
Motion by Mr. Davis, seconded by Mr. Airy. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Item 28 is ordinance calendar number 7041, ordinance to revoke an unopened portion of LaBar Street, Ward 4, District 10. Ms. O'Brien.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Canulette. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 29 is ordinance calendar number 7042 AA, ordinance to extend for 3 months a moratorium on receipt of submissions by the Parish Zoning Commission for rezoning of property which would result in an increase in the allowable density of a residentially zoned parcel greater than A4 units, 4 units per acre, and a plan unit development overlay PUD or traditional neighborhood development district TND parish-wide. Need a motion and a second. Motion by, Mr. Davis. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Davis makes the motion, and Mr. Canulette makes the second. Seeing no further comment. Excuse me, I'm sorry. President Cooper.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's it, Jimmy? You good? Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I want to thank you first for the motion, and second, I just for the record want to acknowledge that we've provided you with an update as provided for in the ordinance on the progress of the Unified Development Code rewrite, the Wetlands Plan and Policy Guide, the Multimodal Transportation Plan, the Comprehensive Plan, the Sustainable Growth Pilot Study, the Parish Comprehensive Drainage Plan, as well as wastewater treatment projects across St. Tammany Parish, including the West St. Tammany Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Goodby Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Autumn Wind Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Preferred Equities Wastewater Treatment Plant, the Tammany Wastewater Treatment Plant, and the Crossgates Wastewater Treatment Plant. You've got updates on this, and we'll provide such at the end of this 3-month moratorium as well. And I thank you for your consideration of this.
Thank you, President Cooper. We appreciate the communication and the documentation here that we can review after the meeting. Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Yes, will this information be supplied to the public in any kind of way, or would you like to do a quick briefing on what the status is to the entire public?
Well, we have a document.
Mike.
No, we have. I wanted to put it in the record, and we will provide that to the public.
Thank you. That's all.
Mr. Cooper, would you like us to put Mr. Loreno on the job? I think he knows. I think there's a square footage thing again here.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Thank you. Item 30 is ordinance calendar number 7043, ordinance to amend the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Land Development Code, Chapter 115, Drainage and Flood Control, Article I. In general, Section 115-3, use of fill materials prohibited to add in our area of special concern. Mr. Toledano. Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Jimmy Davis. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
Just one time, Ms. Lorena. Just one.
Jay, you want to make this next motion?
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, item 31, yes, sir.
Meeting. I don't like the way this is operating.
No.
So I'm gonna sit over there in your spot. And you
Right here?
Yeah. You just come on over.
You like to be closer to the, you like to be closer, huh?
Yeah.
I got you.
He just wants to sit next to me. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Item 31 is ordinance calendar number 7044, ordinance to impose a 6-month moratorium on receipt of submissions by the Parish Zoning Commission for the rezoning of multifamily property and/or the issuance of certain permits by the Parish Department of Planning and Development, permits for the construction or placement of new multifamily building structures on property zoned A6, A7, or A8 in Council District 12. Mr. Airy.
I'll move for you.
Motion by Mr. Airy, seconded by Mr. Canulet. Seeing no further comment, please vote.
The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, and Judge Hand has already handled item 32. Moving to items off the floor. We have 3 items off the floor. A unanimous vote of members present is needed to open the off-the-floor agenda. Do I have a motion to open the off-the-floor agenda? Motion by Mr. Toledano, seconded by Mr. Dean. Please vote on opening the off-the-floor. We need it unanimously.
Ms. Casabon? Press yours. The motion is unanimous with no one absent.
Okay, thank you. The first item is, item 1 is ordinance to amend the 2022 capital improvement budget and capital assets, amendment number 59, sales tax District 3, District 5. This is for introduction only, Mr. Toledano.
Very quickly, this is just to complete a project that's ongoing in my district, and I would move for the introduction. Is that correct, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Bennett?
introduction only.
Move for the introduction.
Okay, motion by Mr. Toledano to introduce, seconded by?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Canulet?
Yeah, I'll break that.
Okay, and that's it. Item 2 is off the floor, number 2, an ordinance to amend ordinance CS number 10-2222, adopted March 4th, 2010, establishing a load limit 8 tons on that portion of Ben Thomas Road that is situated within unincorporated St. Tammany Parish, Ward 9, District 14. Mr. T.J. Smith.
So move.
Okay, this is for introduction only, so motion.
And I'd like to suspend the rules and adopt if I could, if that's possible.
I
can't do it.
I don't believe you can do that.
Legal shaking her head.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah.
I saw legal.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't thank you, Emily.
She about to lose her wig.
Okay, so motion by Mr. T.J. Smith, seconded by Mr. Mike Smith. Introduction only, that's all we need. Off the floor, item number 3 is ordinance to amend Parish, St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Land Development Code, Chapter 130, Unified Development Code, Article 5, Overlays, Division 6, Plan Corridor District, Section 130-1814, special design standards to limit hours of operation for certain uses within the Highway 21 Plan Corridor, Ward 1, District 1. Mr. Dean?
So moved, please.
Okay, got a motion by Mr. Dean, introduced, second by Mr. Fitzgerald. That's all we need for that. Now, we need a vote to refer to the zoning commission. Do I need a motion to refer?
No, you just need an introduction and then a referral. We don't need to vote on the referral. Yeah, you don't need to vote on that.
Okay, we're good.
So it goes where?
It goes now to zoning. Yeah, it's referred to zoning. That's the motion in a second. Right, Ms. Emily? Okay. All right, that is the end of off the floor. Does anyone to my right have any other off the floor items that they wish to introduce right now?
I'd like to get President Cooper to give that report that Mr. Davis has for me. And I'll be back in about 2 hours.
Okay. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
So moved.